Hey man, what's up? My name is Ace on the track, and today you're listening to The Bace, where we talk about life, music, business, and everything in between. Today I got Trevor J with me. What's up, guy?
What's poppin', broski?
You good?
Yes, sir. I am pumped up. I'm ready to go. I got so much energy inside of me, bro. We're gonna talk about like the weirdest shit today. I don't even know.
You ever done a podcast before?
I tried to do one at the crib.
Like you did it yourself?
Yeah, it was funny as hell. Cause like,
Alone?
nah, I did it with a
Okay.
homie. We had no idea what we were doing the whole time. We were just talking about like the weirdest shit. And then after, we took a break. We went back to it, bounced it, and I forgot about it.
That's tough.
Yeah, bro. So today, when you hit me up and you're like, "Yo, let's do the podcast," I was like, "Fuck it, yes, let's do it."
Yeah, I've been
Yeah,
trying to
bro.
get you on, bro. Even when you were in the studio,
Yeah,
like a month, 2 months ago,
facts.
my girl came like halfway through, right? She was like in my room,
Mm.
and she was hearing us talking or whatever, and she told me like, oh, like you should have Trevor J on your podcast.
Yo,
I was
shout
like,
outs,
bet.
shout outs.
But yo, explain to the people, bro. Like, what do you do? Cause you
Okay,
do a lot of shit.
so I've never really like gone in depth before, but essentially, here's what it is. So, producer, first and foremost. I started off making beats. Um, Actually, I'm gonna come back to that afterwards because I don't wanna mess up the definitions and shit. But I started off making beats,
Yeah.
and I started off like really getting into that stuff after making beats.
Wait,
That's
when did you start making beats though?
2016.
2016.
Yeah,
Okay. It's like high school.
and basically, yeah,
Okay.
had no idea what I was doing. Gave up the first time I tried. I started off on FL,
Yeah.
and then after I think maybe a month had passed, I was like, okay, let's actually try and do this because I'd seen one YouTube video of how to use like the stepper.
Step sequencer.
Yeah, and then after I went and I tried it, I was like, oh, that's how it works. And then after that, it was like, all right, let's just keep going in.
Bro, I think real quick, I think everyone, their first time on FL,
Yeah.
they just expected there to be drums and
Yep.
and fucking instruments and shit. You
Yep.
go on there, you're like, yo, how do I get sound, bro? Like
Because you know how like sometimes when you open FL, it has the pre-made set that
the
it'll give to you.
808, the kick.
No,
Yeah.
like it'll have like a set that like it's just a random.
Song.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the first time you
Yeah,
open
yeah,
up
yeah,
F,
yeah,
yeah, I
yeah,
downloaded
exactly.
FL on my girl's computer.
Mm,
You open up FL, it's like a whole EDM track, bro.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I saw that and I was like, this is cool, but how do I make a beat?
Yeah, exactly.
So then I clicked new session, everything's gone, and I was like, oh shit,
What do I do?
how do
now?
I do this?
Yeah.
So yeah, as I said, like I gave up, went back on a month later, tried it out. I was like, oh, this is how you do this. So after I started making beats more often, then I started writing. My writing in 2016 was like very, very basic. Set up, punchline. It was,
Probably like everyone, they start right.
bro. I was reading some of my bars from a couple days ago. It's not fun.
But
It's
not a lot of people talk about this though. But well, I feel like they failed to mention it. But
Mm.
like when you were making beats, why why did you start writing? Like you just thought like I need someone to hop on these beats type shit or what?
it was essentially where I knew I wanted to make music
Yeah.
because I didn't even tell this story right. But before beat making, I was a DJ. So
Right.
my dad taught me how to DJ when I was how old was I? I was in elementary school. I was
That's
like 6 or
dope.
something like that.
I wish someone taught me how to DJ when I was that
Bro,
young,
like,
or at least
it
make
was-
music.
And he's been around the world with DJing, you know.
That's
So when
dope.
he started teaching me how to DJ, I was like, I'm about to be a DJ, you know. I'm about to take over the world with DJing.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And then after, when I got to high school, that's when I started listening to rap music. Before
Okay.
high school and elementary school, it was strictly Skrillex, strictly Diplo.
No way.
What else did I listen to? Just a lot of
Not even
EDM.
like pop songs.
Not even like
Okay.
every now and then, but it was just EDM,
Okay.
dubstep, all of that. And then after I got to high school, and the first like time I remember actually listening to a hip hop song was Kendrick Lamar's "Swimming Pools."
Dope.
That was
yeah.
like the first track that I was like, "Yo, who is this?"
Yeah.
That's when the Kendrick Lamar started. So I started making beats on the computer. I even did it on my phone too, on this app that I had, Machine. I don't know if you know that.
It's just called Machine.
Yeah, like it's the same. It's like the Launchpad by Native Instruments. I just
Nah, I
did two
used to make
different
beats
things.
on GarageBand on my phone.
Okay, yeah. So even that too, you know, that's
Mhm.
how we all started. But
Yeah,
that's
it's
how I
tough.
started. And then after I switched to FL, and then through FL, I started saying, you know what, like I want to record some stuff. So I would write bars, and the reason why I started writing was just because like I just wanted to talk about stuff that was going on. And at that point in time in high school, you be at the lunch table, people are banging on the table, you're
Yeah.
just saying random stuff. So that's how I started. Like, all right, let me write this down so I can say it the next time we're at the lunch table type shit.
And I bet since you like started out DJing so young, you're probably like good at like staying on beat and shit too, right? You had that rhythm.
Exactly, yeah.
Cause you gotta like when you're DJ, you gotta be
Oh, I didn't
on
even
that
get
shit.
that part. Another reason why I started writing was because DJing was cool for me, but I wanted it to be where I'm not playing the music, I'm making the music. Like, I'm the guy that's being played. That's how it all started.
Yeah.
So
You wanted like the attention type
exactly.
shit. Yeah.
So then after I started out making beats, and that was cool. And then it was very hard to find the studio to record at, because 2016, I don't know anything about music.
You don't got no money probably, right?
No money, bro.
Yeah.
No job. It's like, how do I make a song? So I had bounced around from a couple of studios when I first started off. There were sessions that I set up. They fell through. Nothing happened. And then my dad reminded me that my older cousin does music. So I was
shit.
like, okay, let's try and do something there. So I hit him up. I was like, yo, can I pull through and record? He's like, yeah, for sure. Like, whenever you try to come, like, let's just do it. I was like, okay, cool. And for the first couple of sessions, I had no idea what I was doing. I made this one song called Water Waves with the homie. Trash song, bro. Trash song. Like, all my music when I first started had all the right ideas, but just not the proper construction of making the song, So that's how it started. And then after that, there was this one time that I pulled through, and he was like, yo, after the session, like, stay back a little bit, and, like, let's do, like, some beat making and stuff. I was like, all right, cool. So I stayed back. We did some beats, and he's like, yo, if you're trying to, like, learn how to engineer or learn how to, like, build your production even more, let me know, and, like, we'll hook that up. I was
Took
like,
you under
okay,
his
cool.
wing, basically.
Basically,
That's
yeah.
dope.
So we started from there. Like, I'm moving fast with this story, but from there, like, it just went straight into me pulling up every day after school, learning how to engineer, understanding, like, frequencies, understanding how to EQ.
Yeah.
Like, I know, like, I hope other engineers can relate to this. I hope you can relate to this. But, like, the first time you see an EQ and somebody's explaining, like, frequencies to you, you're like, huh? And then after you're doing something and it just clicks and it's like, oh, if I pull this down, now the vocal sounds crisper.
Bro, that's the thing. You just gotta do it and listen. The most important
Exactly.
part as an engineer is to listen.
And even, like, my ears, like, that was a weird sentence, but even my ears, it's like, if I had to explain sort of how my ears got used to, or how I trained my ears to hear those frequencies, it's like, at first, it's kind of like you're just hearing a bunch of sounds. Oh shit, my bad.
Everyone does that shit.
You're just hearing a bunch of sounds, and then, like, none of it makes sense.
Yeah.
And now when I listen to a song, it's like, oh, that clap is, like, low by, like, 2 dB. Or, like, oh, Uzi's vocal right here could have been, like, a little bit brighter and had a little bit more saturation.
You start
right
picking
there,
up on
like,
that shit heavy.
You hear that stuff heavy. So it's like, as I kept going, then I started to understand, okay, I get how to mix now. And then the effects, like beat cuts or doing modulations
Came
or
from
automations.
DJing or what?
It came from when I would DJ. I'd understand, like, when you're DJing, you have, like, the echo and the delay and the reverb and stuff. And all that.
And like the high pass and low pass,
exactly,
right?
the filter. That's what the knob is called. But and I just understood, like, how to do that through DJing. So when it came to doing that with tracks, then I was like, okay, I know exactly how I wanted to filter high cut or low cut, or high pass or low pass, and then, like, it just kind of made all that stuff easier.
Yeah. I feel like that's like one thing that, as like an engineer, producer, whatever, one of the things that separates like a professional and someone who's just starting out, or like an amateur, is that you know what you want and you know where you want that. You know what I mean? Like, let's say you want the vocals to sound a certain way, you know how to get there, but only because you know what you want. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, anyone can learn how to fucking move knobs and shit, but it's like, if you know what you want, and if that shit's gonna sound good to other people too, then you're set.
Basically. And for me, when I first started out, it was difficult because, like, I knew exactly how I wanted my vocals to sound and I wanted the effects to sound.
But you couldn't do it.
But I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And when I would go to studios,
Okay.
it was difficult for me to translate because I didn't understand like the
Yeah.
terminologies, the language yet.
Yeah.
So it was difficult for me to say, yo, at this point, can you make my vocal do like a what? And
Yeah.
the engineer would just be like,
Get the fuck out of here.
I don't know what you're saying, but we gonna try it. And he'd do like a filter on it, but I wanted it to like be a flanger effect with like a phaser and a
You
bunch
didn't
of
know
different
that.
shit.
You didn't know how
But
to
I
say
didn't know
that.
any of that, you know?
Bro,
So
one of the most used terms in the studio is underwater effect by
Yo.
clients, bro. That's a big word
Bro,
right there.
And like there's a million different ways to do an underwater effect.
Yeah.
But sometimes, you know, a client would want it like this specific way, you do it that way. It's like, nah, that's not what I was thinking. So it's like just understanding the terminology and
Exactly.
understanding how I wanted personally my stuff to sound was very big for me. So that's why I was like, okay, I'm gonna learn how to engineer so I could do it myself.
Hey, real quick, by the way, if you're an engineer, teach your clients these things. They won't go to another they won't start engineering themselves. Trust me, but teach them so they can understand you. You know.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And like even from a personal standpoint, when I was learning with my cousin, it was like it made me happier knowing what these terms were because then
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
when we'd have sessions and he'd be recording me, I could tell him like, yo, just can you do da 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 da, and he'd understand, and then he'd do all of that, and it would be
Okay.
like, yeah, that's exactly what I wanted.
Yeah.
You know. So from there it basically grew into me just understanding mixing more. And then I would work with a couple of clients. He would get me comfortable with like understanding the difference between my vocal from per se his vocal or a client's vocal. And
Yep.
that was like my introduction to being an engineer. So now in the story, I think it's like DJ, beat maker, engineer. But I hadn't picked up on songwriting yet, right? So
I mean, low key though, I feel like you can call yourself a producer too. You know, like I seen when
definitely.
Sophie came,
Mhm.
you knew exactly what you wanted and how you wanted her to fucking play the violin.
Yeah.
And she like you told her what to do and she did it and it sounded good. You know, so you can call
Definitely,
yourself a producer at the same time.
But at that,
You
like,
know?
I would definitely call myself a producer now. But
Yeah.
at that point in time, like, I didn't understand arranging.
Oh, you're saying when you're saying beat maker,
yeah,
DJ
like now
engineer,
this
that's
is like the points of where I am in the story.
Oh, in the
yeah.
story. Okay,
So
my bad.
that's
Okay.
where I'm at now. I mean, you know, there's so many titles now, but like today,
Yeah.
but at that point, it was just DJ, beat maker, engineer.
Okay. And this was what year?
This was 2017.
Okay, so you
I
did
think.
all that shit pretty quick.
It was like between 27. Well, the engineer part was 2017,
2017, 2018?
Yeah, bro. I told you my brain was gonna stop working, but yeah, 2017, 2018.
Yeah.
That's when like I really was embellishing on my engineering.
Okay.
And then what was it? And then after I started working on my own tracks, like more in depth, so it wouldn't be where my cousin was engineering me. Now it'd be where I'm engineering myself.
Yeah. Was he looking over your shoulder? Or?
Definitely. He
Okay.
would like there would be some times where he'd be like, yo, you could stay at the studio, I'm gonna go out for a few. I'd be like, he'd go out, I'd record some stuff, he'd come back, he'd listen to it, he'd be like, oh yo, you could fix a frequency in your vocal from like 500 to 700. I'd be like, okay. And that sort of got me more used to understanding like the parts in my vocal that I don't like and the parts in my vocal that I do like. Now
Yeah.
when I'm mixing my vocal, it's like I'm pretty sure for you have that one client where it's like, oh, I know exactly. I know his
Yeah,
whole I know
yo.
his whole frequency range. I know
After,
exactly.
like, you gotta do this as an engineer, but after a couple of times that a specific client comes, you gotta know most of their shit, you know, so that once you have your whole, you know, your clientele, you should know all of your clientele's fucking, not preset, but like,
Yeah.
you should be able to basically make a preset, but every time they come, you know?
Exactly, yeah.
And make their vocals sound the same basically every time they come, just from remembering what they like.
Exactly.
Or how they
and
sound.
even like for me, I just want to like I don't want to throw out all the different plugins that I use because then I'd be throwing away the sauce. But
Of course.
this year, or no, not this year, last year, I made myself a vocal chain that like I'll pop on anytime like I start a new project, I'll pop the vocal chain on the vocals after recording, and it always meets exactly what I want my vocal to sound like. Of course, I'll go in, I'll tweak the compressor, I'll tweak the EQ and the saturation, but it's like it always sounds the way that I want it to sound because I understand my vocal like that now. But that's just me. If I were to record somebody else, I would have to restart from scratch and like figure out my
Do
way
you
around their
record other
vocal.
people, by the way?
I do record other people. It's not it's not like what I want to do. So it won't be where I'll tell people, "Yo, pull up to the studio. I'll engineer you." And I'm charging because I don't want to run a studio. I'm more fixated on being an artist. However, if I have homies that I know like they're motivated and they want to be doing music, but they don't have the proper tools, or they don't have
Resources.
the understanding of how to
Yeah.
do it, I'll tell them, "Yo, pull up to the crib, and I'll show you while I do it for you." So then after I could teach them how they could do it for themselves, type thing.
Facts. Teach a
You know?
man how to catch a fish for someone. I don't even know, bro. You know what I'm talking about. Catch a fish for someone, they'll eat for a day. Teach them how to fish, they'll eat for a lifetime. Some
There you
shit like
go.
that,
There you
yeah.
go. We found our way there, you know. But
Yeah.
yeah, so that's basically that's today. But to bring it back to like the story and how I kept going, so
Yeah.
I would be engineering, and then from there, I started. So this is something that I don't think a lot of people know, except for like the close homies. I'm working on an album right now, but before this album, I had like 4 albums that I made before this album that all flopped because I
Damn.
started off not understanding how to make an album. So it started off with me just making tracks and then putting them together and saying, this is an album. And then I was like, no, that's not what I want to do. I want to make a story. And then I try to make a story. So I'd make a bunch of beats. Like I'd make like 20 beats, put it in a folder, and expect myself to write on all of those. And then after I'd write something for one song and I'd be tapped. And I'd be like, all right, we're not doing this.
So now you go like one song, and however long it takes you, it's how long it takes you, then you move on type shit.
Kind of. I mean, with the album that I'm doing now,
Yeah.
it started off with, you know, I'm going to drop the name of the album for the first time on the podcast. So the album's called 40% Alk per Vol. I don't think anybody knew that. And it started off with me just recording while I was super drunk. And I would just be talking about my feelings and stuff. And then it transitioned into every time I recorded a new song, I would be talking about how I felt while either being intoxicated or thinking about being intoxicated. And that's how I got like a similar theme for the album. That's how I got the whole idea of what I want to talk about and the sounds.
And why 40%?
So vodka, bro.
Vodka.
You know, just vodka. Like that's the alcohol that made me black out once. And that experience of blacking out kind of made me understand like, okay, you like alcohol, man. Like you like to get lit, you know, or like
Yeah.
my term that I like to call it, you get schmizzy, you know. Schmizzy just
Heard it
means
here
you lit as
first.
fuck, you know.
Yeah.
That's a Trevor J term. If you use it, just pay respect where it's due. But yeah, so that's how that started, and then so yeah, to go back now, I started working on albums once I understood engineering more for my vocals.
Okay.
Once I started understanding beat making more, and I was making like beats that I actually felt like, okay, these are like some nice beats.
Yeah.
Because when I first started, my beats were cool, but every time I'd play them for people, they'd be like, "Yo, man, like, when you gonna make like a Young Thug type beat, or who else was popping at that time, a Fetty Wap type beat?" And I'll be like, "I don't know how to do that. I know how to make weird beats. I'm gonna give you this weird beat that sounds like Our City mixed with Usher." You know, like that's the kind of beats that I was making.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know how to make these trap beats, you know. But then after I started figuring that out, so once I figured
Honestly,
that
it's
out,
the easiest type of beat to make. After you
Yo.
figure it out, you know what I mean?
bro, it's too easy.
Yeah.
It's bad easy. Well, all depending on how you look at it. For me, it's like sometimes I want to make a specific kind of beat, and then the second I put that hi hat in there, it's like
It's a trap beat.
it's
now.
a trap beat now,
Yeah.
you know. So that was like that.
That 2-step hi hat, bro, is
Bro,
if you want to make a trap beat,
it's
808
toxic.
2-step hi hat, fucking clap, clap,
Yep.
clap, clap. You know what I mean?
Clap
Like,
every 2 count, having a nice little kick, and then the 808 just
yeah, bro, that's a trap beat right there,
Yeah,
and
trap
a
beat.
little catchy melody.
yeah. But
that's a
it's
secret.
dangerously addictive to want to make a trap beat.
Oh my god, bro, you don't understand. It's fuck.
But
It's crazy.
yeah, so I started making beats that I liked, and I started writing more lyrics and sort of dialing into what I would want to talk about.
Yeah.
At first, when I used to write songs, what I would talk about is like, it was always personal experiences that I would translate through music. But this is when I was in high school, so my personal experiences were not really developed yet. So I'd talk about things I would want to do. Like, we all start off freestyling and talking about.
Yeah.
So that's how it started for me.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say cap rapping, but I would say like some of the stuff that I was talking about was not my reality.
But it was stuff you wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how it started off. And I would record, and I started working on albums. And as I said, they didn't really turn into anything. But at a certain point, I just stopped working, and I started focusing on like, okay, let me like actually develop my writing techniques. Let me find new words to use when I'm writing songs. Let me
Did you read books and shit?
not even.
Okay.
For me, like, I'm not really a big reader. However, I love a good story. So like I'll watch movies, I'll watch TV shows. I remember, shout out Travs. Travs was telling me once, actually, I don't know if he wants this sauce out there, but there's a particular show that he watches and he gets his references from, or that he'll get references to put in music. So when he told me that was not too long ago, I was like, yo, that's actually a great idea. Like, you watch these shows, there's references in these shows, you could use that for the music. But yeah, so it would be stuff like that.
That's, yo, real quick, like, if you really listen to like all these fucking hip hop songs, I would say 95% of them or all of them, at least one or a couple references to like some pop culture shit in that song. You know what? It's like, it's pop culture, so it's gonna be in every fucking hip hop song. You know what I mean? You hear shit about Elon Musk all the time. You hear shit about fucking Randy Moss. You hear shit about fucking whoever, bro. Fucking AP. Audemars Piguet. You know what I mean?
Mark Zuckerberg, bro.
Mark Zuckerberg, fucking Paddocks and shit. That's a person. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
every song, you don't realize it, but there's so much pop culture reference.
We're always referencing stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I feel like music is a really good way to translate the reality that one lives.
Yeah.
It's universal, because it's like, if I make a song where I'm talking about, oh, yo, I just spent this much money on an item of this value, somebody in the world also just did that. So they listen to that lyric, and then it's like, oh, yeah, I feel that.
They can relate to it.
You know?
That's the easiest way to get a fucking fan. Relate to them.
That's what's up. So that's what I wanted to focus on more, and that's what I was trying to develop in my writing skills.
Yeah.
Because personally, for me, I didn't want to talk about things that were substanceless and that were just cool to talk about, but I also didn't want to talk about things that were personal in a whack way. So I had to sort of take time to figure out how to have an even balance between the two things, to where I could talk about things that were meaningful to me, but present it in a way that you could listen to and still feel like, oh yeah, this is some hot shit, So that was that.
People gotta fuck with that shit. Yeah.
So then finally, I'm gonna fast forward. Graduated from high school, started in college. Did not want to be there at all. Fucking hated college, bro. I would pull up. I'd be in class. I'd be like, yo, I'm in class right now, but I could be at home, and I could have probably made 5 beats.
Yo, that's the thing, bro.
And it's like, it was an 8 a.m. class, and I was only in there for an hour, and it's like, I could have made 5 beats in this hour. Why am I here right now? So that's...
Or at least met people, like, collabs with someone, you know what I mean?
Bro,
like, network.
Like, that's what it was for me. So I was like, why am I here? So eventually, by the time I started CJEB, I think it was 2019, August. And by the time November came, I was like, I can't be here anymore. I did one midterm. I did my English midterm.
Wait, where was this at?
Dawson.
Okay.
Right? So I did my English midterm, and then I was like, all right, we out. Didn't go to class for 4 weeks, but I still went to school. So I was going to Dawson. I was waking up every morning because I didn't want my pops to know that I wasn't going to class. So I woke up every morning at 8 o'clock, hopped on the train from the west, went to Dawson, skipped class, and just talked to people.
You lived in the west at the time?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So
8 a.m. every day?
Yeah, 8 a.m.
But yo, at that point, why didn't you just go to class?
Because I didn't want to go to class. Like, I didn't want to be in class, but I didn't want to be home. because like I just wanted to.
Well, you wanted to be home, but your dad.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
You wanted to make beats, but you wouldn't. You
I couldn't be
able
home
to,
because my dad would be like, "Why aren't you at class?" So I'd wake up, I'd go to
Damn,
school, wouldn't go to class, and I just socialize and just talk to people.
that's fucked,
And it
bro.
was like that for 4 weeks until I went on my Omnivox, and all of my classes were red. All of like
Did your dad see that shit?
nah, because he didn't have my password for
Okay.
anything. But I open up my Omnivox, I look at it, and all of my shit is red, and I was
What
like,
does red mean? Like you're failing?
bro, you want those things to be either yellow or green.
Green. Yeah.
You
It's like
know,
a. It's like a.
it's
What's
like a
that shit
bar.
called, bro?
It's
It's
the
something
R
meter.
score.
No, like I'm saying the meter when you're engineering. You know, there's a name
Oh
to
yeah,
it, but you know,
not the love meter,
no. I learned it in school, bro.
the
It's
VU
fucking.
meter.
Nah, it's like a stepometer. I don't even know, bro. But
I don't
basically, you
know.
don't want that shit in red.
You don't want it in the red,
You want it green or yellow,
And
yeah.
except with music, the red is up here. In school, the red is
Yeah.
down here.
Either way, it's bad.
it's bad. So
Red lights bad.
so I was just like, damn, all of my shit is red.
That's so tough, bro. And you said 4 months? That was 4 months type
No, it
shit?
was just 4 weeks that I didn't go to
4
class.
weeks. Oh, okay.
So,
Fuck.
and I only did one midterm. I did my English midterm because, like, at that point, I loved the English language. Ever since I was a kid, like, my dad would be like, yo, I don't care what you do with life, just understand how to use the English language to your advantage. So, like, as a kid, I didn't really understand it and I didn't care. As I got older, I was like, oh, let me find words. Indubitably, preposterous. Like, just.
Well, yo, I gotta say real quick, you do talk very proper, and I fuck with that.
I mean, I appreciate that. And it's something that people always tell me. I just like words, man.
Yeah.
I just like words. Quite simply, words are fun. So I did my English midterm, handed it in, and then I didn't go to class for 4 weeks. I had fun. I was like applying places because I knew I wanted a job. I just didn't know what kind of job I wanted. So I would apply places. And then when I saw that my classes were red, I was like, all right, you know what? I'm making the executive decision in my life to withdraw myself from college. Didn't run
Withdraw
it through
myself.
with my dad, didn't run it through with my sister, didn't run it through with my Megs. I was just like, we're doing it.
Did you tell, like I know you said you didn't run it through them, but after it was done, did you tell them or no?
So I withdrew from college. After
Yeah.
I did that, I'd still go.
Okay.
But now, like, instead of chilling with the homies, now I'd be like walking around the campus looking at stuff, or I'd walk around downtown.
Looking
trying
at,
to-
what does that mean?
Bro, there was this one day that I pulled up to Dawson and I literally, what was it that I did? I pulled up to Dawson, got off the train at like 9 a.m. downtown, went to the school, got there for 10 a.m., and I just walked through the whole school for like an hour. And I was just looking at all the stuff on the walls, went to the library, looked at books, didn't pick them up because I don't like to read, and just like literally walked through the whole school and just I was just trying to like find or figure out, okay, what is this place? What's cool? What's not
the
cool?
fuck?
I just wanted to know what was good with the school, so I just did
What's
that.
good with the school?
And I'd talk to people and they'd be like, oh, what are you doing here? I'd be like, oh, I'm just going for a walk. I'm just strolling.
Yeah,
They'd be
that's
like, you don't have
crazy.
class right now? I'd be like, nah, I just dropped out. I'm just chilling. Like just weird shit. But
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm the type of person in the summer, I'd literally just put on some clothes, leave the house and go for a walk. And just do me. That's basically what my identity is, or that's just a part of my identity. So when I would wake up and go to Dawson and just walk around the school, that was me just enjoying myself and enjoying the fact that I didn't have to be there, but I was there.
Yeah. Yo, Loki, that's a good feeling. Not needing to be somewhere, but like you're there,
You're
you know?
just there,
Yeah.
Homie finishes class. Hey, what's up, man? Oh, what's good? Oh, yo, what class do you have right now? I don't. Just like that.
I don't.
But that's what it was. So
Yo, that's crazy.
after that, then I got this job at a movie theater in the West.
Okay.
And at that point, that's when I told my dad, or I didn't tell him. It was more like, so son,
How's school?
you're not going to class
Oh.
anymore, are you?
How do you know that shit? Just at
Yo,
the
man,
time-
parents are smart, bro.
Okay.
Parents know. Why do
No,
they know?
for
Because
real.
they lived. They lived
Yeah.
what we're living. So he just knew I wasn't going to class. There was a lot of mornings that he'd come to my room and wake me up to go to school, and I'd be like, get out, And he'd be like, okay. So he probably deduced down to the fact that like I just wasn't going to class anymore.
Yeah.
And then finally I was like, yeah, I withdrew from college. And he's like, and when were you gonna tell me this? And I told him straight. I was like, I wasn't. I just told him straight.
How long after?
It was
like,
so if I withdrew in November, it was probably like halfway through December. So like right now that he found out.
So it wasn't even the first term that was done.
Oh no, I didn't finish my first term.
Okay. Because when you said midterms, for some reason I thought like you finished your first term.
Not even.
Okay. So he didn't find out that long after. It's
Yeah,
like a month or some shit.
a lot of the homies at that point in time weren't too thrilled with the fact that I dropped out.
Why? That's none of their business. The fuck?
They just like I had a if you I'll say reputation, but there's a better word definitely. But I had a reputation of image of when I was in high school. Like people knew I didn't like school. People knew I didn't like class. But I had never really like solidified what it was that I wanted to do. Music was an option, but I just didn't know how to full time go into it.
Yeah. So people just thought you were just throwing your life away, right?
Basically,
Bro, that's the same shit that people thought about me for real.
And to triple down on that fact, at that point in time, a lot of people in my friend group were dropping out of school. So when I had taken the step to drop out of school, the homies thought, oh, he's just doing that because everybody else is doing it. But for me, it was like, nah, like I'm dropping out of school, I'm getting a job, and I'm making music. That was final for me. So
how long did you work at Cine, the movie theater for?
I worked there from 2019 November until 2020 November, a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, so this hasn't been that long either. So like 2 years
bro. It was a nice year of me just chilling at the movie theater. My first paycheck, I remember my first paycheck. I open up my bank account. I go onto my TD app. I see the money. I was like, yo. I go into my dad's room. I'm like, Dad, I'm going to Steve's tonight. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I just got paid. I'm going to Steve's tonight. I'm getting my preamp. I'm getting the mic. I'm getting the mic stand.
Did you already have Ableton and shit though?
Yeah.
Okay.
I forgot to buy the pop filter. That was like the biggest L.
Wait, what? You bought the AT2020?
I bought the AT2020. I bought the same preamp that I have right now. It's a Mackie Onyx.
Is it an interface or preamp?
This is the part that always gets me.
Wait, yo. By the way, put the mic a little bit closer.
It's like this?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. My bad.
So,
what is it called? Mackie?
It's a Mackie Onyx 2i2.
2i2, that must be an interface.
It's an interface.
2 inputs, 2 outputs.
I always forget the difference between interface and preamp.
Well, interface, shit, bro. I'm not out here about to explain what the difference, bro. I'm gonna look stupid, but basically, just interface connects fucking. It transforms your audio signal from the microphone into a digital signal to put into your computer.
Facts.
Whereas a preamp, and also interface, to connect your monitors and shit and your headphones. Whereas a preamp is just really to, amplify the microphone so before it goes
into
the digital signal, It
amplifies
amplifies the signal.
A tube amp is a preamp.
Exactly.
Okay.
It just amplifies the signal and adds a little bit of color to it,
I got it.
And by the way, one thing, whenever I say like color in front of like clients or just like random people, like talking about sound, like, oh, I'm gonna add color to these vocals.
Yeah.
Like, yo, they think I'm fucking crazy, bro. Like, what are you talking about? You're gonna make these vocals blue? Like, what?
Bro.
Gross.
That's funny as hell. I remember when I first started, my cousin would explain color to me. I would mentally picture the vocals having color on them. So like the vocals would be like
the vocal track, right?
Yeah, the vocals would be like, oh, okay, we're gonna throw a little red in there, a little blue, a little yellow. Now I understand like color is saturation, and the way how I like to describe saturation real quick is like a glass of water and Mio squirt juice. You put a little bit in that's lightly saturated. You could see that the water is not water anymore. It's a little bit red, but it still tastes like water and there's not that much sweetness. You take the Mio juice, you put a bunch of it inside until it doesn't taste like water anymore. That's oversaturation going into distortion.
Exactly.
That's how I like to explain it.
I like to think of color or saturation. I don't know why every time I say that word or I think about that word, I like to think about red or orange. I don't know why. I just feel like I'm making the vocals red or orange. Like obviously like sonically red or orange.
Yeah.
But red obviously being like clipping, so like a light shade of red or like just like a light shade of orange,
Yeah.
and I feel like that's color to me, just warm. And when I think of warm, temperature warm
Yeah.
is orange, red, cold
Okay.
is blue.
Yeah. Okay. I hear exactly.
So when
what
you
you
say
say,
I'm
yeah.
making the vocals warm, I'm adding a bit of color, I just think orange.
Yeah.
I just like, yo, I'm making these,
I get that. I mean, when you said red, for adding color,
That's
I
oversaturation.
instantly thought of Saturn, Fab Filter
Exactly.
Saturn.
That too is red, right? So
Exactly. Yeah.
that's
So, but yeah, as I said, we're gonna talk about so much different shit.
Yeah.
I don't even remember where I was.
You were at the movie theater, which
Right,
by the way, you
right.
slit your finger out, right?
Yo, cut my middle finger on my 18th birthday. Funniest story ever.
That's crazy.
I literally sliced it open, grabbed it. My manager was there. I said, "Yo, I just cut my finger open." She's like, "No, you didn't." I'm like, blood flying out of my finger all on the floor. She's like, "Even close it." I'm like, "You said I didn't do it."
I remember
know?
you telling me that exact story.
But like, yeah, just I'm always cutting myself or fucking up myself in some stupid way.
Yeah.
This year on my 19th birthday, fucking flew off a bike going down a hill.
Yeah, I saw on your elbow or some shit.
Bro, my elbow, my knee, my back looked like the asteroid emoji. Like,
oh my god, yo, how fucked is that? 2 years in a row on his birthday, fucks himself up. What's happening for the 20th, bro?
yo, bro.
Well, it's in June. You were telling me, right?
August.
August. Okay.
Yeah, bro. I keep messing around and telling people 20, like, is gonna be the big one.
What does that mean?
Yo, but nah, like, I feel like the reason why for the past 2 years I'd hurt myself on my birthday is just I go the whole year without causing harm to myself. So on my birthday, it's just like, what's the dumbest thing we could do that gets us hurt, but we enjoy it?
But the work one, that wasn't dumb, right? You were just telling me
the
you were
Guzzo one,
switching a
it
poster.
just happened. The
right?
one this year on my birthday, I intentionally knew that I was gonna fly off that bike.
Yeah, but you said fuck it.
Fuck it, bro. YOLO.
40%.
That's what's up. So, literally, that's what's up. But yeah. So okay, I was at work.
Yeah.
I was at
Your
working
dad
at
just
the
found
Guzzo.
out.
My dad just found out that I dropped out of college, and I didn't give a fuck about shit. And I just got my mic and my
Yeah.
interface.
Oh, that's where we're at. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
just
yeah.
went to Steve's. You copped your shit.
So I caught my shit. Go home. No idea how to use it.
And no pop filter.
Exactly. You know what I did for a pop filter? Took a hanger, bent it, and put stocking on it.
First pop filter I ever made was that exactly. And you have to hold it up every time you want to use it. I went up to my mom. I was like, yo, mom, do you have any like extra stocking? She's
literally,
what are you talking about?
I bent the hanger
Exactly.
and I taped it to the mic
Oh,
stand.
you taped it?
Yeah, taped it
Oh,
to the
that's
mic
smart.
stand.
I was holding it.
So when homies would come through, they'd literally be like, yo, what's this? I'd be like, yo, don't touch that. That's the pop filter, fam.
If you move it, it's fucked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got to bend that thing back, and then make sure.
That's with any cheap pop filter, though, bro.
You
As soon
know?
as someone touches that shit, it's like,
It's
all right.
over. So, so that's how I started off. A lot of the first songs that I made were kind of like weird. I had not really found my sound as a beat maker yet. And I was still trying to find my sound as an artist.
Yeah.
And like the stuff that I like to do on the mic, I was comfortable with like doing weird stuff, like doing high pitched vocals that are totally off key and just anticipating that auto-tune's gonna make that shit sound fire. But I just didn't know how to do it in the way that I wanted to do it yet. So from December 2019, up until I want to say like right before COVID started, I was making songs, but none of them were like songs that I was really, really proud of. And that's when I started another album. That album was called like what did I call that album? I don't think that album had a name, but like that album consisted of People Don't Notice. That album had I Got on it. That album had Too Much with no, Too Much Is Just Me. I Got is with Travs and my boy Jeezy. There was Too Much on that one. There's another song that never dropped called NMZ on that. Another song called Wait a Minute. And I feel like there's another song. I think Bout It was supposed to be on that too. Bout It with Twins H.
Okay.
Or H now. But yeah, so that was that version of my album. Didn't drop it. Instead, I just did songs that I really liked from it and just put them out as singles, right? And at the same time, I had started working on another album right at the same time as working on one album, I started working on another album. I was just trying to make as many albums as possible at that point. I wanted to tell a bunch of stories, but I had no idea how to do it still. And then what happened? I think COVID happened. Well, I don't think. I know COVID happened. But yeah, like COVID happened. I remember it was, what month was it?
March.
It was March.
March 13th,
Yeah.
2020. Or 15th.
Was it 2019? Oh, no, it was 2020.
March 15th or March 13th.
It was March 13th. I remember
Yeah.
because the kids had school. Like, I still talk to homies that were in high school. So they had school on the 13th. It was a Friday. And they didn't go to school that Friday. And then after the next week came and they didn't go to school. And then they just never went back to school.
That's actually the first time I've ever seen like a Friday the 13th actually fuck up some shit.
Yo.
You know what I mean? Which
Crazy
I never even
shit.
thought about.
But yeah, man, like it was so what happened was it was that week of March, and the next week the homies that were in college still, they were going on spring break.
Yeah.
And I was like setting up like, okay, yo, we're gonna link. I haven't seen you in a minute. I've
Oh,
been working.
yeah.
I've been working on music. So next week, like you go on spring break, I'm not in school. Let's just like, let's go crazy. And then after the COVID happens, and then after it was like, shit, like we can't link up now.
That's so tough.
I remember that week, the week after when they started spring break, two of my homies came to the crib. My dad got vexed at me. He's like, yo, you can't have people coming to the crib, There's a deadly virus going around right now, bro. We're going to die if people come into the crib. I was like, yo, Dad, what are you saying? Like, what are you even saying? So that was that. And then the, what's it called? The lockdown happened. Wait, did the lockdown happen yet?
Well, yo, lockdown, I don't even know when that was, bro. That was...
Because, March, April, May, I was still working at the movie theater, but there was just, like, a little bit more restrictions on what people could and couldn't do.
I know for a fact there was a lockdown that started Christmas time last year, like December 20th or some shit like that of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't remember if we were allowed or not allowed to leave the house back in, like, March and April. Because I remember going on bike rides and shit with friends, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like, in March and April,
I just think the stores were closed.
There was, it was the toilet paper phenomenon, bro.
Oh, that was March, April,
That's
yeah.
what it was.
Yeah, March,
the
April.
Toilet paper stuff. People were going to the grocery stores, emptying out all the counters and shelves and shit. I remember I went to the grocery store with the homie, stocked up on a bunch of shit, went home, ate it all. Yo, bro.
Goddamn.
And then after, what was it? After March, is it April? I don't know. I'm just going to fast forward to when it got hot because I don't remember what happened in between that time. But I was working at the theater, and I remember I got the notice that the theater was going to be closing and that they weren't going to let people go into the cinema and shit anymore. So at that point, I was like, no more cinema. Still kind of
Wait,
getting...
so you worked there for over a year?
Yeah.
Oh, no, never mind. It was a year because it was November, right? I guess when they closed movie theaters around that time.
November 2019 is when I started. They started closing the theater in the summer. Like, it was open, but it was closed. And then after November 2020 is when they closed it and we went into the full lockdown where you couldn't go out past, like, 9. That's when that shit started. So...
Yeah, past 8, actually. That shit was fucked.
Yeah, exactly.
In the winter at first?
Yeah,
Oh, my
bro.
God. Yeah.
But, yeah, so... where was I at? Yeah, the summer hit, and we went into the first kind of lockdown where people were just staying inside and people weren't going out. They didn't say you had to. They just said stay inside.
Yeah.
And at that point, for me, I was like, I could work on some music. So that's when I started, like, first of all, I got Fortnite, right? So I was on Fortnite.
That was the first time you ever got Fortnite?
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Like, I always had it and I knew of it, but I just never played it. And then when the first, like, stay inside shit happened, the homies were like, yo, hop on Fortnite. I was like, all right. So I hopped on Fortnite, grew to love the game, still play to this day, even though, people are not really about the game like that anymore. But we're not going to talk about that because that's kind of fucked up. And, I still play the game because I enjoy it. But, yeah.
Not a bad game, bro.
Yo, it's a fun game.
I was playing a bit during the summer. Like, I just downloaded it and I found out you could play split screen.
Yeah, man.
I just wish my brother would have wanted to play. Yeah, you can play split screen. My brother only played with me a couple times, but split screen, like, bro, that changes the game, bro. Like, I didn't play Fortnite for a year. Just downloaded it. I'm like, what the fuck? Split screen? I go upstairs. Me and my brother started playing. It was a fun time. It's just you can't like it's harder to like see enemies and shit, you know, because it's small. But yeah,
You heard it here first,
split
folks.
screen.
You heard it here first, folks. So yeah,
It's
I
like
got
Call of
into
Duty.
Fortnite. And what was it that I was going to bed at like? Okay, I'd stopped playing Fortnite at 3 o'clock in the morning. Dipped my crib. There was the water. I don't know.
Wait,
what.
during the 8 p.m. lockdown?
No. This was like
Before or after?
this was like June, in 2020.
Before the okay.
Yeah. So this was June.
You were living in the West.
Exactly. Yeah. What was it? I would get off Fortnite at 3 a.m. because the homies would go to sleep. I'd leave the crib, walk down to the water because where I lived in the West, it was nearby the water. Stay there, watch the sunrise, go back home, work on some shit until like 7 a.m. and then go to sleep. My sleep schedule was fucked,
Bro.
you know? But that's how like it started, where I started working on more music, kind of. And then after, that was the point in time that I really like wanted to say, okay.
I'm gonna try
Oh yeah, try that.
What is it? Wait, my bad for cutting off your story, but
All good.
what is in this again?
Yerba mate, it is a plant that has the same chemical properties. I could be fucking all of this up. Don't trust the word that I say. Go look it up on Google. But it has the same chemical properties as like caffeine. So it gives you the same kind of energy. The only difference is that it's more of a natural source as opposed to caffeine that could be chemical.
And it's tea?
It's tea. It's basically just like a brewed leaf with a little bit more sugar.
And you said it's Caribbean, right?
A little fizz. Not even.
Oh.
It's organic. And
But I'm saying like what where's this from?
it's from the USA.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
And I saw this on Kenny Beats's The Cave.
Is this something you have to order?
Not even. They got it. You know the organic store down the street?
Right next to Rockaberry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aliment Naturel.
Yeah.
That's where you can cop that.
Okay.
I have one right next to me on Sherbrooke, so that's where I got these. And I
Wait, so
just
were you
been at
talking
them.
about down the street Sherbrooke or on Monkland too?
There's one I'm on to.
Okay, next to Rockaberry.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna try this shit.
But yeah, man, it's nice. I mean, like, it for me, I just find it's a better alternative as opposed to like Red Bull.
Red Bull, coffee, all that
Yeah.
shit.
Because it's a nice flavor. It's fizzy and it gets me amped up, you know. So
It's good.
flavor profile 1 out of 10. It's weird at first.
I never mentioned this on the podcast, and I don't want to get into it because I don't want to fuck up this podcast.
Yeah.
I don't have a sense of taste or smell.
Okay, I thought. Oh fuck.
I think I told you that. Yeah.
Told me this.
So it's just sweet.
I
So
thought that it
flavor
was
profile
just-
1 to 10, it's sweet.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember you told me this.
Yeah.
We won't get into it, but
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
bro, my
gonna be
bad.
it's gonna be a long ass story.
Facts.
But it's good though. Like I could still taste sweetness. And
Yeah.
shit, so it's good.
Okay, word.
Yeah, it's fire.
But well, then let me know how that caffeine feels afterwards, you know, because it's just gonna jolt you. But still,
How much caffeine is in this shit?
I don't know.
It doesn't say because it's part of the leaf, or does
Yeah.
it say it's like a percentage?
100 calories,
I don't think it says anywhere.
24 grams of sugar, 0 protein,
Of course.
of course.
I don't even see caffeine in the ingredients, so it's probably just part of the leaf.
High
It's
caffeine
probably not,
content
oh.
contains 120 milligrams natural occurring caffeine per can.
How much is in Red Bull?
I don't know.
That's a lot, bro.
120 milligrams of caffeine in this.
Where do you see this shit?
On the bottom, right next to the barcode.
Oh my god. 120 milligrams?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Hold up, fuck.
Might have to split this up in a couple days.
Yeah.
This is fucking.
How much caffeine is in Red Bull? Oh fuck.
How much caffeine is in Red Bull?
Oh fuck.
Like what, 50, 25 milligrams?
30.
Oh my god, bro.
Yeah, so
No wonder you've been so wired. Goddamn.
yo,
He was telling me that he's been fucking.
there's a reason why
overdrive,
my brain has not been working right, and I think I know why. But anyways,
I appreciate the gesture.
yeah,
I don't think I'm gonna finish that.
yo,
I'm gonna drink a little bit. But I don't think I'm gonna finish that, bro.
you
It's
know,
like,
just let it span over a couple of days.
Yeah,
You know,
I
that'll
have
give
a-
you all you need. You wake up in the morning,
bro, I have a fucked up sleep schedule as it is.
take
so
one sip, and you're chilling. So yeah, anyways, that's
That's
a lot of
crazy,
caffeine,
bro.
Anyways,
That is fucked.
yeah,
120.
Okay, I'm gonna speed this story up. I'm just gonna end it.
Yeah, I want to get into the present real quick, but yeah, continue your story though.
But yeah, so to end it off really quite simply, a lot of music, and then we got to 2020, September. I got the word that Guzzo was closing.
Yeah.
I got offered a job at the hospital, and it was perfectly set up because the day that Guzzo was closing, I think it was September 28th.
You were moving here?
Not even.
Oh.
I didn't live here yet.
Okay.
So September 28th, 2020 was when Guzzo was closing, and October 5th is when I started my job at the hospital. So like I had like a couple of days where I could just relax and not do shit and then start my next job, but I didn't quit yet. So that was beautiful. Started my job at the hospital.
So you're still technically an employee at Goose?
No, now I quit.
Okay.
I quit, yeah. But at that point, I hadn't quit yet, so I was working at the hospital. But if I wanted to go back to Guzzo, I could have.
If it opened again, yeah.
Yeah. So that was that. And then after 2020, basically the year of 2020, that's when I met Timar, and that's when we like started cooking and shit together. I was
Shout out Timar.
Shout out Timar. That's when we like started working and stuff together. We had actually worked on an R&B album, like a alternative R&B / trap album, and that was that was my first taste of what it was like to actually make like song after song that had a reoccurring theme and making something that like I was proud of and that he was proud of. And that's when I started to really create my sound, which quite simply, I mean, a lot of people say different things. Some homies tell me, oh, your sound is just ambient, your sound is like super spacey and melodic. My sound is just wavetables, bro. It's just wavetable synths with all your basic trap elements. But
the sound of like your vocal chain too is a little bit
facts.
You know.
Facts.
I'm not gonna call it weird because it's like it's not like no one does it, but it's not something you hear on every like at the club. You know what I mean? It's not something you hear at the club, which is like the mainstream hip hop, mainstream trap.
Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of influence from Travis Scott.
Yeah. So
my early influence was Kendrick Lamar, so more lyrical content comes from Kendrick. And then after like any music that I listen to now sort of plays a role into what will happen. Like I listen to what's it called? 88 Glam. That there's definitely
that's soft hip hop.
Bro. You know 12 by 88 Glam?
Yeah.
12. I listen to that, yeah. I listen to that song every single day for 2 months. Shit. Every single day. One song off the album called FaceTime is like basically super influenced by 88 Glam.
Wait, off what album? Because wasn't there a song on Timar's album called FaceTime? No. I don't know. I just remember one time I was listening to a song on his album. I was making my eggs over here. And the last couple seconds of the song, it's like
FaceTime call.
It's a FaceTime call, but it's when you're calling someone. But me, I didn't register that it's the sound when you call someone, so I thought I was getting a FaceTime call, you know? And I was like, wait, what the fuck? And it was just part of the song.
I think it's
Sleepless Nights, right?
That's Sleepless Nights, yeah.
Yeah.
That's like one of my favorite beats I ever did, by the way.
Yeah, it's fire beat.
But
fire song too.
For reals. But my track FaceTime, I'm gonna play like 30 seconds of it just so you can hear.
Put it more to the mic. Not too close, but still at the microphone.
Back a little bit. But like heavy 88 Glam influence. You feel
I
like
could tell, yeah.
Just with like the soundscape, the way I did the vocals, all that shit was just like 88 Glam. But there's a lot of different influences. But my sound right now, I'd like to say like it's a combination of synths, melodic synths, dragging synths, just a lot of synth work, heavy 808s because I love that shit. And the vocals just have to be spacey, ambient, and a lot of effects. Super fucking heavy effects, bro.
I love that type of sound. You know, that shit's
like
it's just fire.
What people always tell me is, so I don't smoke weed, but people always tell me, bro, your music is the perfect stoner music, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't smoke, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, it sounds like you're just like, on the mic, maybe off a little bit of lean or some shit,
Yeah.
maybe off a bit of kush. Like, it just sounds like the opposite of if you were on that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or off a Molly or some shit. But like
Yeah.
this, for example, because you
Okay,
have that.
this. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
this.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Like I like to think of like the music that I like to listen to and the music that makes me feel good. Because I'm the type of person like I could fall asleep in the club, not because I'm bored, because music is my relax. You know. So like when I was a kid in the whip, my dad is a heavy house head, like house music and shit. He would play house music, and I'd fall asleep to like listening to Music Sounds Better with You by Stardust, or like some heavy fucking Daft Punk shit. Like I just fall asleep to that shit. So now for me, if the bass is like super heavy and the kick is like all that shit is
Makes
just
you
loud,
tired.
it makes me want to fall asleep. Not because I don't like it, but because I love it so much. So my music sort of is supposed to make you feel relaxed while turning up on the inside.
That's
If
fire.
that makes sense, yeah.
That's kind of like that Travis,
Yeah.
like his voice. I mean, I guess depending on the song or depending
Definitely.
on the part in the song, but his voice is like relaxed, but it's like the
Yeah,
beat
exactly.
that kind of
Like
makes you,
Astro
already go.
Thunder,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
boom. Or like Yosemite, or
Yeah,
Can't Say. No, not really Can't Say.
yeah, him.
But
Like, he
like,
switches his voice out there, but just songs like that,
yeah, like that's the feeling that I Astro World fucking changed my life when I heard it for the first time.
it's
Not
fire.
gonna cap, even though Travis Scott's canceled right now, it changed my life. And it made me want to make music that you could listen to and like imagine. Like I like to think of my music as a psychedelic trip. Even though I've never done psychedelics before, I don't know if I ever will. But like when I listen to my music, I picture like colors and just weird animals walking through shit. Like I just
That's
like to
dope that
close
you
my
can
eyes.
do that, like, while you're sober.
Yeah, bro. Well,
Cause,
I mean, I'm never sober because my brain is crazy.
well, yeah, but you know what I mean, right?
But yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah,
yo,
definitely.
like, I mean this in the most non-offensive way
Mhm.
possible, cause like, to me, I wouldn't take offense to that if someone told me that. But I just feel like the way you talk, the way you think, the way you make your music, the way you write, the way you produce, all that shit, just you, I
Mhm.
guess. It reminds me of like someone who either had like one, like a big one, or a couple, just maybe big ones also, like just trips, like psychedelic
Yeah.
trips. Just like you had like that life-changing trip, you know what
I
I mean,
mean,
from a psychedelic.
I'm gonna touch on that real quick. My life changing trip, very basic. Some people don't understand it, but I smoked weed and I had a bad trip, and it sort of caused like symptoms and feelings of psychosis,
Yeah, I think you were telling me
and
that.
it was just like it's the craziest shit to date that I've ever experienced, and it changed my perspective on the world. Like it changed my perspective on how I interact with the world, how I perceive shit in the world, how like how I just move and how I go about my day and whatnot. So that kind of influenced me to sort of at first I was in denial and I did not want to accept the fact that I experienced that, and that caused like certain feelings of disassociation, and it really like amplified depressive feelings that I had at the time that then grew into a depression. But like I denied it at first, and then after I sort of took it and turned it into, no, I want to like chase that feeling. I want to chase that feeling of being uncertain of myself or being afraid of the world and like the realities and shit. And I wanted to chase that through the music that I made. So if you're listening to one of my tracks and like you hear a little sound that sounds weird, but it sounds like weird in a uncomfortable way, I left that shit in there because that was like 3 seconds of how I felt in that moment, and then the rest of the track is cool. Like I just really
Yeah.
let my whole being out on the music and make it where like sort of like a relationship. I always tell people like, yeah, I'm in like a long lasting relationship, beautiful girl. We've been together for a couple of years now, and they'll be like, oh yo, what's her name? I'll be like, yeah, her name's Music. Like
That's dope.
she's really good to me. Like that's what I always tell people, and we laugh about it. But
Yeah.
it's like me personally, I actually feel like I'm in a relationship with music.
Love
Sometimes I
hate,
hate
right?
it,
Yeah.
yo. Sometimes I hate it. Sometimes I love it. But at the end of the day, I am my most vulnerable self with music, And I feel like all depending on the kind of artist you want to be, if you're like really pouring yourself out and you want to make it where your music is being made for a listener that can relate to you even if they haven't lived the same experiences as you. For me personally, it's just like you have to become vulnerable with the
Well, I
music.
feel like, you know,
Like with context, of course, but
yeah. But like you're saying, like making people relate to shit they haven't, like they're not really able to relate to, right? I feel like a lot of like kids or a lot of people, they're listening to all this shit. I was talking about this on my latest podcast too, but just you know, like rappers and shit, whether it's like drugs or alcohol or girls or even, you know, pop songs with love stories and shit like that, trying to relate to that. Like maybe they haven't experienced those things, but they want to or they want to know what it feels like. So you're kind of like, you know, the person telling them it feels like this.
Yeah.
Like this is what it is. You know what I mean?
I mean, the album is very much a heartbreak story. The album is a movie. Okay, before I even get into that, I just want to like close the story, the build up story that took forever to explain. I'm a long storyteller.
An hour now, by the way.
Sorry?
An hour.
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Nah,
Yo.
it's good, bro. Like, cause we touched a lot of shit while you were telling your story. You know what I mean?
Man. I mean, like,
So,
I'm a long storyteller. It's a
I
blessing
fuck with
and
that
a
shit.
curse.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
cause sometimes I be telling stories to people and they just be like,
Hey, man, it all depends on the listener. You know what I mean? Like me, if I'm listening to a story,
yeah,
I like to know all the details,
yeah, bro.
cause I have a big imagination.
Yep.
And
Yep.
like I have like a photographic memory.
Yeah.
So that kind of ties into my imagination.
Yeah.
So I like feeling like I was there. You know what I mean?
bro. I love that feeling
So
too.
it's like you make it feel like that, because if you're telling all the details,
yeah.
you're saying, yo, it was. That's why I'm always asking you, what year was this? What month was this? What date was this?
I don't know if you feel this, but like, if ever you're telling a story, or like say you're telling somebody a story
I'm
about
there.
something that happened to you,
I'm there.
you're living it in your
I'm
head
there,
as
yeah,
you're
yeah.
telling the story.
Yeah. I don't know if I don't know. I've talked to some people. Some people can relate to that. I don't know if it's I'm not gonna say normal. I don't know if it's like a weird thing. I don't know if it's a thing everybody has. But if I'm talking about something, it's hard to say. But like later when I think about like, oh, when I was explaining that story to that specific person, I don't know if my eyes were seeing the person's face or if my eyes were seeing the story I was telling. You know what I mean? And it's hard. It's hard to tell sometimes. And I feel like it ties in with my ADHD too. It's like, yo,
See,
like,
now that you just said that, I'm thinking about everything I just explained.
do you remember looking at me? Do you remember looking? You know what I mean?
Like I remember looking
trippy.
at things in the room.
Yeah,
but I'm really like looking through my memories.
that's what I'm saying, bro. And when you were telling your story, I'm thinking you were at Dawson. I'm picturing you walking through the halls. You like I know Dawson a little bit. I'm picturing you walking there. I'm picturing you in the West at the cinema theater. You know, like it's it's crazy.
Open your mind.
Trust me.
Yo.
I stopped letting it fucking. I stopped trying to think about that because it's trippy as fuck.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
like
trippy.
we could talk about trippy shit that makes me lose my mind. Like sometimes I'll be at the crib and it'll be 3:00 in the morning and I'm thinking about the world and the universe, and then I start getting scared and then I have to be like, yo, stop. But like that's some next shit. Like like I'm capable of getting into depth with that shit, but it's like not everybody wants to hear that. A and B, it's like that's a whole different part of the brain that like. That's just a different conversation,
Bro, brain is fucked. Our brains are fucked.
Beautiful, but fucked.
Yeah. And it depends on everyone. I feel like some people can handle their brain.
Definitely.
I definitely cannot, And I feel music helps me with that. Because when I'm listening to a song, or when I'm mixing a song, except for like references maybe, and like if they're telling a story during the song, other than that, there's not really anything for me to picture. There's not really anything for me to like think about other than how can I make this sound better. So it gives my brain a huge break, like a pause. Like, chill the fuck out, relax, focus on this song real quick, and then go back to just being fucked.
Oh shit!
So it's like a distraction. You know what I mean?
What are we today? We're Tuesday.
Tuesday,
we're Tuesday.
the 14th. Yeah.
On Sunday, the Sunday that just passed. Actually, that's a lie. It was Saturday. I started working on a track at 1 a.m. and I locked in from like 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. I had work the next day at 9 a.m.
I seen something like that on your Instagram story.
Yeah, like that was
It
2
was
days
just
ago.
coffee. You were drinking
Yeah.
coffee and you were talking about something.
And what's it called? When I'm dialed in like that, like working like nonstop with breaks in between, but from 1 to 6 a.m. for a couple of hours, like it's sort of working on the music stops my brain from the subconscious thoughts that like are just creeping around, and it just
Yeah.
makes me where it's like I am just working on this shit, and I sort of give myself a chance to relax. So I definitely understand where you're coming from with that, but yeah.
Yeah, you need like, bro, and again, I don't know, like, what type of people, because it's definitely not everybody that experiences that, but it's definitely a lot of people that experience that type of shit. I just haven't figured out whether it's like creative type of people like us. Maybe you have like ADD, ADHD, right?
Something.
You told me about that. Maybe it's something to do with that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's something to do with just nothing, and it's just so like just the way you know genetics, whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
it's a real thing that like me or you, whatever. Like my ADHD, it doesn't. Maybe it's something to do with ADHD, because my ADHD isn't like I'm acting out all hyper as fuck. I think it's ADD, where it's like attention deficit. So like when I'm listening to a story, or when I'm, for example, when I was in class in high school, the only reason it's like, yeah, the thing the teacher's saying is interesting. I want to listen because I want to get good marks, but I can't stop myself from
like,
being in another
over it,
world,
yeah.
you know? And then it's like, there was one teacher that ever really helped me with that, and he would see that if I was like either staring at him deeply for like 10 minutes,
Yeah.
he knows that like I'm in another world,
Mm.
or if I was just like staring at something else for 10 minutes, or at a person, whatever, it means that like my eyes, my brain weren't actually there. I was looking at something else, but just in my head. And it's like, it fucks with you, bro. And that's a real thing.
Yeah, man.
So I feel like not a lot of people understand that shit, that it's like, yo.
On the same level as that, like sometimes when I was in high school, like I'd be in history class, the teacher's telling a story about like the Iroquois or the native Canadians that lived here before us.
Yeah.
And like they'll say one thing, and then my brain will completely tune out what they're saying for the rest of the class, and I'll be like literally experiencing what life was like during that time and living in that shit, not knowing anything about what life was like in that time. Like the teacher will say one thing, it'll just make me go on like a 20-minute adventure in my mind.
Trust me, bro.
Yeah,
It's like you're playing a video game or some shit.
Basically.
That's crazy.
But,
man. That's why, like, I feel like when I'm like on the podcast, I've been pretty good. Like every podcast I've done, when I'm talking to people,
yeah,
I'm always saying, "What? Sorry, excuse me. Like, what'd you say?" Like, I'm trying to listen. Trust me. Like, you're telling an interesting story. It's just like I can't help but imagine. You know what's happening.
It's difficult to organize the brain.
Yeah.
Or for myself, maybe you could relate. It's difficult to like listen to a story and organize it in a way where you're taking in that information and processing it at the same time without like going over here or going over there. It's a difficult thing, especially like me personally when I talk for an extended amount of time, which that cap hasn't happened yet for this podcast, but I'll be talking for an extended amount of time, and then after a certain point, I stop thinking about what it is that I want to say, and I start listening to my voice, and then I get mad confused, and I have to stop talking for like 15 minutes.
I don't even know if that happens to me.
Yeah,
I don't know.
but it's a weird thing.
That's
like
crazy.
Doesn't happen super duper often, but when it does happen, it's annoying.
And
it's
you feel like you're awkward type shit.
yeah,
when
like
you're
I'm tired of hearing my voice, and I just want to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
It hasn't happened yet. Now that I've mentioned it, it might happen, but we'll see. But yeah, man. So to go back to like, what are we talking about,
Bro?
Next shit.
I don't even know.
But yeah, to go back to like, the feelings that I was having.
Recording.
I said that I tripped. I tripped when I was in high school, and that like was like feelings of psychosis and shit, and it sort of allowed me to. At first, I was in denial of it, and then after I sort of used that, and I was like, you know what? Instead of trying to run away from the feelings that I have, if I get like anxiety attacks or panic attacks, instead of trying to run away from that, like let me like fully dive into that shit and make it where like my music is about that. And that's kind of why I'm so proud of like what I've done with the album that I made with 40% Alk per Vol, because it's like that album really, the music that I have out right now is cool. I like it, but it's not personally, like it doesn't touch on the things that I personally want to talk about. For you? Yeah. And with this album, it allowed me to dive into those dormant thoughts that I have when I'm at the crib or when I'm out in public and I zone out for a couple of seconds. Like, this album has allowed me to express all the feelings that I have that I don't talk about in such a real way that when I listen to the album, it's like it helps me to not have those feelings as frequently
Yeah.
anymore, you know?
Yeah. Yo, that's crazy. Good
Which
for
is
you.
why, like, I don't want to, like, make light of something just for the sake of making light of something, like, in a marketing way to make money from it. But
Yeah.
I want to make light of mental health problems, mental health issues, and substance abuse, kind of. Because during that period of time that I'm talking about in this album, I was going through depression and I was feeling things that were not what I regularly felt before that point in time. And I want to make this album where it's like I'm letting people know, like, yo, if you feel some kind of way, if you feel depressed, if you feel like shit constantly, and you see yourself like going to exterior things like drugs or alcohol or anything to sort of suppress those feelings, that's okay. You know, like, I feel like in the society that we live in, like, it's kind of looked upon as bad or fucked up and shit. And for me personally, it's like, yo, we all go through that shit at some point in
Honestly,
time.
I know what you mean when you say that about society,
Yeah.
but I feel like it's getting a lot better.
Yeah, definitely.
To think about all the, like, to talk about music, I guess, to think about all the people, all the artists, like,
Yeah.
big names or small names that are, like, raising awareness for mental health and
Yeah.
substance abuse is, like, insane.
I mean, it's like it's also it's in two parts where it's like the world that we live in now is not the world that we were living in when we were kids.
Or
know?
even worse before we were born, right? But
Yeah.
even then, when we were kids, it was different still.
So now it's like, I mean, with shit like Bell Let's Talk,
Yeah.
or with shit like people making it aware, like, yo, there's shit that's going on. We feel human beings are capable of feeling like shit constantly. It's not something where it's a problem or it's a defect or a disease. It's something that happens, and it's a part of development.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if it happens to everyone at the same time or at different stages in life. It happens. I feel like we've gotten a lot better as a society talking about it. I just feel like there is still some areas where people are uncomfortable to talk about it. Because
Whether it's, I think that's true, and that is whether you're talking about it with, like, you have mental health issues, or whether that's someone talking about their mental health issues, and the person they're telling it to doesn't know what to say to that, doesn't know what to do.
Definitely, yeah. It's like, I've had a lot of conversations about the things that I've been through and the experiences and the traumas that I've had with people. And it always, like, sometimes there'll be that one instance where it's like somebody hasn't experienced that in their life yet,
Yeah.
or somebody is not comfortable with expressing that part of themselves. So they don't, like, it's like, there's a barrier between us in having a conversation like that, because I'll be explaining to them, like, oh, this happened to me, but I worked through it, so now this, and this are reasons why I feel like I'm better.
Yeah.
And they'll be like,
Yeah.
okay, I hear you, but I'm not trying to talk about that. And it's like, I understand that, but I feel like one of the reasons why that may happen, I mean, there could be several reasons why somebody is uncomfortable to talk about the things that they go through, and I'm not saying to push people. I'm saying one of the reasons why it might be is that for the longest time in society, it was frowned upon to, like, feel like shit openly. You know what I'm saying? So for me, making this album, one, it's helped me to feel less like shit. And
Good.
it's helped me to understand, like, yo, because even, like, making the album and running the songs to my homies, like, they have come to me and told me stories about themselves that I never would have known, like, they're telling me shit like, yo, I went through this, and this, and I was like, yo, I didn't know, I would have never thought that you would have gone through some shit like that.
That's the thing. If you're the first one to open up,
Yeah.
or if you just in general, if you open up, there will be so many other people around you who will open up to you because they're like, oh, like they were embarrassed before,
Yeah,
and
like,
so
you're
were
making
you.
that comfortable space.
Exactly, and like, yo, it's crazy, bro. It's a good thing to talk about that shit.
Yeah, man. I mean, like, even for even there's one of the homies that has been going through it, and they only really feel like comfortable to confide in me with some information like
Yeah.
that. And I've been telling the homie, I'm like, yo, don't feel uncomfortable to talk to me about anything. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, you're goofy for feeling like shit. Like, nah. If you,
There are some people that are gonna do that though, and
there
that's
are,
why people still feel uncomfortable.
bro, yeah. And it's
But
like, I've told him, I'm like, yo, that feeling that you have where you don't feel like you're 100, like, don't dismiss that. Live in that for a moment. Feel those emotions, because without those emotions, you can't grow. You know, like, you have to, it's kind of like a video game. Like, there's a boss and you're going to be stuck at that boss for a minute and it's going to feel like shit because you can't pass that boss. But once you like actually say, okay, like, let me look at the boss, how it moves, like how I can fight it or how I can at this shit from another angle, and then you pass the level, that's the whole, like, that's the journey, you know?
facts.
So it's like, to get back to the music, it's just me making this album. It's to help myself and to hopefully make it for an audience that like might not feel okay or might not feel comfortable with expressing themselves, but listening to my music will help them to get that shit off their chest, or to just feel comfortable with like, hey, I'm not okay and that's okay, you know?
I'm not okay, and that's okay. Yeah, exactly.
Straight up.
You know what would be a cool album name?
Mm.
Fucking, you know how some people put like, yo, like call me at this number, like text this number, whatever,
Yeah.
if like you're feeling like shit or whatever.
Like that Logic track, like,
Yeah.
except he put the help. Fuck. He put the helpline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a cool, like, I mean, okay, I guess if you're not trying to like put your number out there
Or you get a burner.
or you get a burner,
Yeah.
I feel like a cool subliminal album name would be whether it's your phone number,
Mhm.
your burner phone number, or a helpline phone
Mhm.
number. You know, like how every number has like a letter to it, like on a phone pad?
Yeah.
Just those letters, you feel me? So it's like either you don't say it at all and people will figure that shit out because it's a mental health album, or you promote that shit so all the people that like saw you promoting that shit and talking about that will know that, oh, those letters mean it's a phone number, and then all those people that just stumbled upon your album will just think that's just random numbers, like this guy's fucked, which is still kind of like, oh, that's interesting.
I might have to
But-
make a bonus track
Of just like your phone number, someone's phone number, like
with letters.
letters, bro. Like I don't know, I just
And the
thought about
letters are
that
just
now.
gonna be in random fucking order.
I
It's
think that'd
gonna
be really
like
cool. Subliminal.
EWEXZZ3.
You know?
Like, bro, that's a dope idea.
Don't steal that shit, eh? Whoever's listening.
Yo. And if you do, please do it justice.
Yeah, nah. If you could do that shit, but
You know,
make it a
just
fire track at least.
Definitely. But yeah, man, like, to like bring it around
Back.
completely or back, I don't even know. Like, I guess my journey with music is okay. So I'm gonna start where I started with the podcast. So we touched on DJing, we touched on beat making, engineering. Now I'm at a point where it's like producing, where like I understand the arrangement of shit and how to like make a song from start to
Yeah.
finish, whether I'm the beat maker or the artist or whether someone else is making the beat. There's another artist. We're getting instruments at this section. Okay, we're gonna drop it out. Like, I understand all of that shit. So production, what else did I touch on? Oh, songwriting. Like, now I'm at a point where I could comfortably say, like, if there is a story in here, I can get it out here
Yeah.
perfectly the way that I want to.
That's something
Get that
that's
shit out.
hard. Well, I've never like really tried it, but
Mhm.
it looks
It's-
hard, bro.
It was diffy at first, and it was through me going through my traumas and my experiences that allowed me to, like, so at the point where I accepted everything that happened to me, and I decided to like excel and like move forward, that was the point that with music I was more comfortable with expressing myself and talking about shit that was going on inside more comfortably and like freely. And through talking to people too, like, I feel like the best, I mean, it's I learned this in psychology, and it's also something that just as humans we do without even thinking about it, but talking is the best cure for feeling down. You know, like, whether you're talking to a homie, a parent, a teacher, therapist, psychologist, counselor. Like, talking is the best cure to understand what it is that's going on, because you could think about it, but it's gonna get scrambled with all your other thoughts. The
Different
second,
perspectives.
yeah,
For like someone else will give you a different perspective. Basically.
exactly.
Yeah.
Or it's like even just saying it out loud. Like, I find
Yeah.
how I've helped myself is I'll talk to like my therapist or my counselor or to the homie, and the second I start talking and saying what's going on inside out loud, I'm finding the solutions as I'm talking about it.
Weird, bro, but it's
Bro,
true.
it's like for the past couple of weeks I was feeling down about some shit, and I was not able to be productive and create the music that I wanted to create or work on the album. And then I spoke to a homie about it, and literally through talking to the homie, I was finding the answers in that conversation.
Bro, it's like when you're telling a story that you're thinking happened some way, you've been thinking this the longest time,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're telling that story to someone, and you get to a point in that story, and you're like, wait, like, nah, that didn't happen like that. That shit happened this way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like that. Like,
Exactly.
you just realize shit because it
Mental
doesn't make sense in your head,
realizations,
because it's like, yo, your head, like we said before, your brain is fucked up. It'll make you think a bunch of different shit every day,
Definitely, bro.
all day. But so especially when you're thinking about, you know, your issues and your
Mhm.
problems and the shit you're going through, like, you'll overthink. Overthinking is a big one, and then
Mhm.
you'll just start to fucking, you know, when you're rambling on to someone,
Yep.
but it's in your brain, it's in your own brain, and then it doesn't make sense anymore.
Yeah.
So like you're saying, if you just speak that shit out loud, it's like,
It organizes it.
yeah, because your brain, you can talk as fast as you want, bro. Your
Mhm.
brain, you could overlap so many thoughts,
Mhm.
whereas talking, you're saying word after word. So
You're forced to put it in
Yeah.
structured order. Yeah.
like, if it doesn't make sense, then you just look like an idiot. So you're like forced to try to make it make sense.
Yeah, bro.
Word after word, you're taking it slowly, and it works.
Bro, just
you know?
fucking dropping bombs.
Yeah, bro.
Dropping
Like,
bombs on you, bro. But like, I just want to like, I want to shout out some of the homies that have helped me, and
do it.
literally through getting to this point of personal being, myself on the inside, artist, engineer, producer, beat maker, all that shit. Like, through getting here, it was because of a lot of the homies. It was because of the homie Geo, Jeezy. It was
Shout
come
out.
of the homie, cause of the homie Nico Drade. It was cause of the homie, my older cousin, who I
Taught you.
didn't say the name before, but he goes by Hardbody Jones. Crazy fucking beat maker, engineer. He's the reason why I'm even doing this music shit. Shout out to fucking JT. Shout out to fucking Travs. Shout out to Schreier. Real shit. Yo, that guy, solid. Like, he's one of the funniest people that I know. And like, but we can also talk about some real shit. But it's always positive energy with him. Just like, yo, there's so many people that I haven't named, and I don't want to go on a fucking naming spree, because what the fuck.
But they know who they are if they're watching
yeah,
this, right?
you know who you are if you've helped. Even like the fam, my sister, when we were younger, we didn't fuck with each other. As we got older, as I started to understand life more, best friends now, you know. So like,
Shout out to all those people.
shout out
You
to
need
all the
people like that in
homies.
your life. And real quick,
Mm.
that made me think of something. If any of you are feeling any some type of way and don't have someone like that, first of all, you can hit me up. But second of all, follow this guy on Instagram, because at least I think every morning, or at least every other fucking morning or
I
some
try
shit,
to, yeah.
this guy's posting on his story like a whole like 60-second, 2-minute thing, just like talking about how nice it is outside and
Bro,
shit. And like,
it's Wednesdays. It's every Wednesday.
oh, it's only every Wednesday?
Well, I mean, I happen to
feel like
always post on Wednesdays when I'm at work. Like in the morning, like for example, tomorrow I'm gonna go to work in the morning, and there's this one spot at the hospital
On the
that
roof
I always,
or something,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
I always go to that spot in the morning. At some point, I just take my phone and I start recording.
Bro, I feel like I see it way more than that once a week, though.
It's like, I don't know. It's weird. It's like it always happens to be on Wednesdays, and then after some weeks, I'll do like in between shit.
Well, yo, like I
But
said,
yeah.
follow this guy. What's Trevor J _MTL?
Trevor
right?
J _MTL.
Yeah.
All platforms.
Yeah,
Instagram.
music first of all. But
Instagram, Trevor J _MTL. I have not properly built my Twitter, so we're not gonna do that one yet. Facebook, but I don't really use Facebook. And let's not talk about Snapchat. So
Yeah.
it's really just Instagram.
like this guy, like he's gonna make you feel positive. You know what I mean?
That's the goal, bro. Whether it's through the music, if you don't fuck with the shit that I talk about on IG, cool. If you fuck with the music, then you'll feel better through the music. And yeah, man, it's
Exactly.
just,
Different platforms to talk about different things.
and I try to get as interactive and I try to engage with the people that follow me on IG as much as possible.
Especially as
not,
an artist, you gotta do that.
yeah, definitely. It was not an easy thing for me to overcome when I first started doing it, but now I feel like it's just comfortable. Like, just gotta be transparent and shit. And it's
Bro.
a hard thing to overcome, but I've figured it
It's
out.
a hard thing to hit up people, bro. Even if like
Mhm.
you consider them your friends, or you know like you fuck with them heavy.
Mhm.
For me at least, it's a hard thing to actually like talk to these people every day or at least often. Like
Yeah.
I'm so busy in my own world,
Bro.
doing this shit, doing
Mhm.
music, fucking doing just all my shit that it's like I always just forget to check up on people.
Yeah.
Or if I have problems, I forget that I can reach out to
yeah.
people or even just to yo, let's hang out.
Yeah.
Let's link. Like I have a
Definitely.
big problem keeping in touch with people.
Or
and
even deeper than that, like, my biggest problem was who to talk to.
yeah,
You know,
bro,
But
that's a big one too.
it's
Maybe that's why I struggle with it, because it's like who, you know?
yeah, because I mean, like, you could talk to anybody, but it's like, who are you gonna talk to that's gonna potentially help you or potentially give you an alternate perspective that'll help you
Yeah.
get to the next spot. But yeah, to
Yeah.
continue.
Well, for me at least, like I know my mom, if I want to talk, like, you know, she'll always fucking talk to me. My brother,
Definitely,
he'll
yeah.
talk to me. It's just like, you know, that to me, like that's obvious. You know, it's like like a no brainer. If I need to talk, I could talk to them.
Mhm.
But it's also really important to, or my girl too. My girl, she's, shout out to her too. You know, but like outside of that little circle, it's like yo, like especially as an engineer too.
Yeah.
I gotta keep in touch with my clients, which I started doing, but it's still kind of hard to do.
It's hard to manage being in the public eye and being your own person at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I kind of decided to, like, sort of morph the two beings together. Nobody knows the Govy, and they will continue to never know the Govy.
Yo, low
But-
key, I'm not gonna say where. I could even mute it out if you want.
Yeah.
You said your Gubby before.
Did I?
Yeah. I can mute it out if you want, but
You got to do that.
I picked up on that real quick.
Nobody can know the Govy. That's what I've decided as the artist. It's just Trevor, and that's it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So yeah, if you didn't know, that's not. Or I guess it is your name. Fuck it.
That's my name.
It's his name.
That's
yeah,
my
it's
name.
his name.
That's how you'll know me by. You see me on the street. Hey, yo, T. Yo, Trey. Yo, Trevor. You
Yo,
know?
J.
That's what it is. Yo, that's what it
Yo,
is. But
T.
it's like,
Yo, R.
that's
Yeah.
what it is. But I'm merging myself and the artist together because it's
Yeah.
like I've just decided that it's like it's difficult to pick up my phone every day, go on IG, and be like, "All right, we taking a video," and just talk from the heart, while also not trying to be too personal on IG. And then after a certain point, I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. I don't care anymore. I do care, but I don't care about how my image is perceived because I want my image to be 100% myself. And that was a hard journey to go through, which, by the way, I might say it right now. I have a single on the way called Myself. That is coming before the album.
You have
Yeah.
a date? Or no?
I don't have a date.
Okay. But yo, real quick, back to when you were saying merging your artist and person into one, whatever. This one's kind of trippy for me. Cause yo, I would say like, as of now, the majority. When I say the majority of people in my life call me Ace.
I just remembered when
So-
I said my name. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't remember when, but I'll try to find it. But the majority, like the big majority of people in my life, call me Ace. You know what I mean? That's what I go by. So it's like, and I don't want anybody to call me anything else. You know what I mean? So it works out. But at least like for me, it's kind of trippy. I don't know about you, especially days where it's like I have so many studio sessions in a row, and so many studio sessions in a day, a lot of days in a row, or I'm going out to shows or parties or whatever. Like, no, it's all good.
Okay.
But it's trippy for me, especially in those times where it's like when my mom calls me by my name. It's like, it's trippy. Or my girl or my girl's mom. My girl, not so much, because, like, it's just, I don't know. Even my mom, maybe not, but it's just, like, other people. Like, even, like, how do I say this?
We touched on this before. I
We did
remember.
in the studio. It's just trippy. I don't know how to explain it. It depends on the person, too, but it's really trippy. Like, I was playing ball hockey
Yeah.
with my boy, and then, like, his like friends and like there's like whatever older people there and shit. And it's like when someone asked me to pass the ball to them,
Mm-hmm.
I got called by my name and like I got confused for a second. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's trippy. So what how do you what do you think about that? Is it trippy for you too?
I was actually going through this problem. Like, I think, like, I got really, really heavy into it last month, and I was like having a personally, it was a major identity crisis. Exteriorly, it was a minor identity crisis. But
Me, I don't know if it's so much an identity crisis, just as much as it's just trippy.
yeah.
You know, maybe it is. I don't know.
Like
Maybe it is.
I called it an identity crisis
Which
because
maybe
like
it was. You
I
know.
was like, yo, who the
Yeah.
fuck am I? What the fuck is going on?
Okay.
But it's
yeah.
like it was for me. It's like it's trippy because I remember the first time I went somewhere and somebody actually no, that's was it that no, I'm thinking of someone that's one thing else. I remember the first time I went somewhere and somebody knew me off of IG and I'm walking and they're like, yo, Trevor, and I kept walking and they're like, yo, Trevor, and then after I was like, oh shit, that's me. And then after I was like, fuck. So now it's like when I go to studios or when I go out and I do shows or when I'm talking to some of the homies, they'll refer to me as Trevor, and then other homies will refer to me as Bleep. So it's like,
trippy. Yeah.
so it's like even when I'm at the crib, sometimes my pops will call me by my govy, and I'll just be like, yo, I don't know if I like how that sounds. Like, I know that's the name you gave me and everything, but I don't know if I like how that sounds. And he'll start laughing. And then after, I'll just be like, I don't know. It's a weird balance to find, like, how to accept yourself or the artist that you've created for yourself or the alias that you've created for yourself, and then accepting who you are,
Yeah.
which they're not different people, all depending on who
It's
you
not
wanna
like
be.
there's two brains, right? You're having the same
Yeah.
thoughts.
Like
so,
it's
yeah.
the same person for both people. It's just that it's the same person for both names. It's just when I go out, I'm called by one thing, and when I'm at the crib, I'm called by another thing.
It's trippy.
It's a journey that I've had to become comfortable with.
Yeah. One thing though for me, real quick, that's trippy.
Mhm.
Also, sometimes I'm in the street or whatever, and someone that knows me sees me, and whether they're like behind me or whatever, they say like Ace, or yo Ace, why? Nah, yo, just Ace, whatever, and I hear A. So it's like I
Yeah.
just think they're like yelling to someone else, you know, and that's happened a couple times. So I keep walking,
Yeah.
and then they're like, "Yo, Ace," and I'm like, "Oh shit, what the fuck?" Because
Yeah.
like it sounds a lot like A, you know, it's like
Yeah.
trippy.
Which
Hey yo,
on that same note, but like on the flip side, when I go to work, I have a name tag,
Yeah.
and on my name tag it says my name, and like
yeah,
to be like completely fucking real for a second, it's gotten to a point for me where the second I finish work, I take off the name tag, fold it, and put it in my bag. Because when I dip work, don't want no one to see that shit. Don't want no one to know my
Yeah.
name. Like, I've become very protective with my name, which is weird. And as an artist, I would want to dive into the thoughts on why I want to protect my name and my identity. But for the sake of the podcast, I'm just going to be like, yeah, man, I don't want no one to know that shit. Like, it's
it
like,
depends on the situation, really.
it's
you know
sort
what I
of
mean?
like, it's sort of manifested or transitioned into like there is parts of myself that I love very much, and it's like I want that to be something that if I'm talking to somebody that I've known for a minute, like we have that connection to where it's like they know me on the real, and it's like we have that connection type shit. But when I'm talking to other people, I might not know them as well, or I might not know them as real, and it's like I don't want you to know fully who I am completely. Because as an artist, I am my full self 90% of the time, probably 100% of the time. But there's still certain aspects to myself that I don't want to make public. Like,
Of course, bro.
one thing that I don't talk about, which is not that deep, but bro, I fucking love watching science videos. You know, like ever since I was a kid in elementary school, I love science,
That's
you know?
low key dope as hell.
But as an artist, I don't really talk about the science.
Yeah.
Because it's like I'm just talking about music. However, when I'm making music at the crib, I'm like, yo, making this song is like fucking blending chemicals together and getting a chemical reaction of some new shit,
Yeah.
which technically it is in your brain. But, you know, like there's just aspects of my life that like I don't want to make public, not because I don't want it to be where people know that about me, but rather because it's just like, it's personal.
And there's no need.
Yeah.
I mean, that goes for everyone, you know, like as an artist or as a public figure, or as a person that makes himself public,
Mm-hmm.
you
There's just shit
you're
that's
not
purposeful.
forced, but you kind of have to, put yourself out there.
Yeah.
But that does not mean at all whatsoever putting every little detail about you out there.
Yeah.
Like that, it's the opposite of that. Like you put out basically what people what
It's
you
an
want
image.
people to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not saying what you want people to see isn't like fake shit. Like
Yeah.
you're making yourself like a whole different person. It's just the aspects that you want people to see.
Yeah.
Or else you'll just fuck yourself over, bro. If you let's say if you put your address out there,
Yeah.
yo, what the fuck? Like, yo, people are gonna come and rob you or fucking.
Yo, my address is the Pizza Hut on Sherbrooke and Cavendish.
There's a Pizza Hut on Sherbrooke and Cavendish.
Yeah, like right next to the Provigo.
Oh shit.
Sorry, not Pizza Hut, Pizza. Fuck.
Okay, yeah.
But it's like that's not actually my address, but it's like, why am I like, if I put that out there and then after, tomorrow I'm dipping pizza because that's the crib, and somebody comes into pizza like, yo, what's good? I heard you live here. It's like, why are you at my pizza joint?
Bro.
But it's like,
or if you put out that I don't know, whatever, bro. If you put out information about personal relationships,
yeah,
how's that gonna make the other person feel, bro? Or how's that like gonna affect the relationship between you and that person?
Yep.
How's that gonna affect you? Like it's all a bunch of shit that it's like. Really, you have to pick and choose.
it's choices.
Yeah, and you're yourself as an artist. You're a brand. Me, I'm a brand. Ace is me, but Ace is also a brand.
Yeah.
And I want people to see what I want them to see.
Yeah.
And I want people to see the aspects that could grow my brand.
Definitely.
And I'm not saying like I'm only putting shit out there that people
like nobody. It's like, oh, y'all only know what I want you to know, but you don't know me at all. It's like,
no, it's not even like that. And it's not like when you see like an Instagram model and she put a filter, she photoshopped her body and all that. It's not like that. It's just there's some shit that you don't need to know about.
Yep.
There's some shit that will grow my brand.
Yep.
There's some shit that will make it stay where it is just because, it's just information that people are going to be like, yo, why are you even talking about that?
Yeah, and there's some shit that is like,
it's going to be bad.
That'll make it go down because people, for some reason, don't want to hear that shit.
Exactly. So you, as a brand or as an artist or
it's
whatever.
It's all choices that you make to grow the brand.
It's hard choices. And that's why doing whatever we do is a hard job.
I won't lie. It's the society that we live in has sort of forced us to do shit to make things grow. And sometimes those things require us to, like, for example.
What do you mean by that?
Like, what do you mean by that? Like, so example, like, I can't talk about everything that I want to talk about on my IG. And there are certain things that if I do talk about it, it'll cause my IG to grow and my status to grow.
Yeah.
But if there's things that I talk about that is not super like if there's personal opinions that I have based off of politics or society and shit like that, some people might not be so open to that, and it would cause my following to go down.
Yeah.
Now, that's not something that is terrible. However, because of the society that we live in, where it's like everything is done to grow and build, you have to choose what you do talk about and what you don't talk about. Is that something that I particularly like? Not necessarily. However, it's the world we live in,
And also adding on to that, there's shit that just for you, for example, there's shit that you'll talk about on your Instagram or whatever, but there's shit that you'll talk about on your Instagram but not your music, and there's shit that you'll talk about on your music, on your songs, but on your Instagram. Like for me, I talk about a lot more shit on this podcast than I do on my Instagram or than when I'm with a client. And then even further than that, as a photographer, I'm not talking about shit. You know what I mean? As a photographer, I'm just doing whatever. I'm conversating with the client, but whatever.
Like you're capturing moments.
Exactly, and I'm making them feel comfortable. As an engineer, if they're putting themselves out there to me on the microphone and talking about personal shit, I'm going to make them feel comfortable by also opening up a little bit and just talking almost as like a friend or whatever,
Yeah.
But like just having deeper conversations than photography, whereas like on the podcast, it's even deeper than that, and that's what I'm trying to do. Have deep conversations, have the artist open up, and the way that I'm going to get the people on the podcast to open up is open up about myself too. And people just are interested in that.
I mean, it's like, even at the simplest level, like, a podcast is essentially diving deeper into a person or deeper into a subject that one is talking about.
Yeah.
So like, you know, people that watch this will get a different aspect of Trevor J and a different aspect of Ace that they would not have gotten prior
Yeah.
to watching this. But now it's like, oh, here's something else that you know about me as an artist, and maybe it could be something that we could connect on if we ever meet in public.
Exactly. And maybe the
Yeah.
next time they'll listen to your songs or your upcoming album or whatever.
Yeah, now
they'll
they
be like,
have a perspective on
exactly.
it.
And they'll be like, oh, that's what he means. Oh, that's what he was talking about on the podcast,
Yeah.
you know? It's crazy shit. But yo, I wanted to touch on this. We haven't gotten this yet
Mm.
to this point yet, but I just wanted to let people know and then talk to you about it. First of all, you performed the other day, right? Was that your first performance?
That was my first performance doing like my personal shit.
Crazy. Talk about that. How
Yo.
was that shit, bro?
So I had a live auto-tune pedal.
Yeah.
First time using live auto-tune. Nervous, scary, 100%. Comfortable, happy, 2,000%.
Nice.
But it's like, what a crazy experience. Because I mean, because the music that I make like talks about personal experiences, as much as I'm happy about it and I'm comfortable with it, it's still a scary thought sometimes, because it's like, I know that not everybody is super comfortable with hearing like, for example, I have a song off the album called Bliss, and at the end of the song, I say, fuck depression, no glorification, I'm just letting you know. And like, there are some people that like,
Fuck
don't
oppression, you said?
fuck depression.
Oh, fuck depression. Okay.
Yeah, so it's like there's certain things that I know that my music talks about that somebody might not necessarily want to hear about, and listening to it and streaming it yourself is one thing, but performing that and getting a live audience
can't even imagine.
to like hear the shit that I'm like, you know the song Stuck? Pull me up because I feel like I've been stuck. I've been drowning. Yeah. So like that's the deepest song off the album. I performed that shit, right? And like the verse goes into just very bad thoughts. Like, what's the point in even having you? Having me was a lot for you, did a lot to me. Falling back on you, we was on repeat. Now I can't sleep at night. Like shit like that. You know, you don't hear people performing songs like that and just like getting like deep like that. So for me, it was like, it was uncomfortable because I wasn't sure how the crowd was gonna respond to that.
Honestly, a lot of people won't even realize. They'll hear the beat and they'll hear you rapping fast.
Definitely.
They won't even realize.
But I mean, like, because my sister was there and she was in the back of the crowd, and she was telling me, like, when I was performing, there are people in the back of the crowd like, yo, this little motherfucker saying some shit. You know,
That's
like,
dope.
yo, like, the music is cool and the beat is cool and catchy, but listen to those lyrics. And she told me this after the fact, and I was like, damn, people were listening to what I was saying? I did
That's
not expect
blessed,
that.
bro.
So it's like,
That's probably the best feeling.
oh my God, the best. But it's like, I was just like, I really hope the way that the audience takes it is how I feel when I make the music and when I finish it and all that shit.
'Cause that's the goal, right?
Yeah, man. And it was definitely a powerful response. After I performed, I went outside, and some guys came up to me and they're like, yo, your shit is fire, bro, especially what you're talking about. Like, I haven't heard anybody out of Montreal like really, really, really dial into those things yet. So like, I'm just glad that you performed. And
That's dope,
what's your
bro.
IG, bro? I'm trying to follow your shit. And I was just like, yo, I was so nervous before I got here. I intentionally drank a little bit too much before performing because I was not 100% comfortable yet. But thank you so much for coming up to me and telling me that you fucked with this shit. That's what I said to the guy, because it's like, an artist is two things. One, it's making the music that's true to you, but two, it's the audience that listens to that music that builds you up. So it's like, the fact that these people fucked with it made me super fucking happy.
That's dope, bro. Good for you.
Yeah.
You gotta do more performances.
Oh my gosh. Like, now that I did that with the live auto-tune pedal, I'm about to like practice full length sets and shit to have ready. So then if anybody says, yo, you trying to perform at this event? I'll be like, yo, me and the auto-tune pedal are on the way.
I remember the first time I was engineering a live show.
Mm-hmm.
That was a fucking crazy feeling. So I can only imagine for artists. But yo, do you have a video of the whole performance, or at least snippets?
I posted some shit on IG. In terms of the whole performance, I don't have like anything of the whole performance because I don't know why I never do this, because I've performed in the past too, but I never ask anybody to pull up and like take a video of it.
I know there's some people that just like I went to a show a week, 2 weeks ago. I think it was a Thursday, so the day before your show actually.
Okay, word.
And there was two people. First, I was taking pictures, and then there was just another guy who was literally filming everything. And I was in a group chat of like all the artists after. They were all texting each other in the group chat like, "Yo, who was that guy taking that video? I'm trying to see that." No one knew who that guy was.
Yep.
Even the guy who set up the event didn't know who the guy videotaping was.
Wow.
But then there was also a guy who made like a little, like just took like videos of different parts to make an edit. But so I feel like a lot of performances, there'll be people there taking videos. This guy had a crazy rig, bro. He had like a huge fucking camera, a nice light, like a nice microphone.
Popped up and said, "Let me expand my portfolio."
And then never talked to you guys. Exactly.
Yo,
bro. He's like, I'm using this for my portfolio, and only that.
That's
like,
crazy.
No one knew who he was, but yeah.
But yeah, man. Like,
you definitely gotta ask someone to take videos though.
Trying to get on that, and like even music videos too. Like I want to do music videos.
Yeah, bro.
Especially with this album. There's like, I know that listening to music a lot of people can get mental visuals of shit when they listen to songs, but for me personally, like all the music that I'm making, I have full movies set up in my brain for
dope.
each song on the album. And the hardest thing is like understanding that I'm not at that level yet where I could take everything in here and put it out here visually.
Yeah.
And as much as I want to, it's like I have to make sacrifices. Like, okay, which song am I going to do a video for? And how can I sort of touch on everything in the album in this one song, in this one video?
And also, making a music video for a song or a couple songs, whatever, could first of all fuck up that song for the audience and for you. Because
it's not what the audience perceived.
Well, I guess, yeah, but I was talking more like how whoever the videographer and director is and the editor, how they take your vision in and how they recreate it, and how they actually
bring it to
execute, bring it to life. How they do that could make a break. It could make you fucking hate that song after that because you'd be like, yo, I fucking hate this music video.
That happened to me once.
On a music video?
Yeah.
And bro, you probably hate that song now, right?
Bro, I'd never want to hear that song again.
And and the reason you made that music video to that song was because you liked it, right?
Yep.
And that person just fucked it up for you.
Yep.
Maybe you just miscommunication. Maybe they weren't talented enough. Maybe they didn't.
Unfortunate circumstances.
Yeah, just bro. Yep. There's a lot of shit that happened. Maybe it's not their fault. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. Maybe it's even your fault.
Yeah.
Or whoever. But like, bro,
in that situation, it was my fault. But
okay.
Yeah.
Like you didn't communicate well enough? Or?
I didn't communicate well enough, and what I wanted to do was not what this person's expertise were.
And there's also a lot of shit that people want to put into music videos.
Yeah.
That is so not realistic.
Yeah.
First of all, realistic for, let's say you have a certain budget.
Yeah.
It's not realistic for that because that person won't do all that or can't do all that for that budget.
Like, yo, someone says, I want a music video that looks like that Kendrick Lamar scene from the song Humble where the camera was moving mad fast. Bro. And the guy's like, I don't have that shit.
That shit, bro.
We working with a camera and a stabilizer.
Yo, or no stabilizer at all, bro.
Yeah.
Like, there's this one guy. I'm not going to disclose his name. Just because, like, I know the price of the video. And I don't want to, I don't know if he wants to put that out there. So there's a guy in Montreal who made a really nice video to a good song. Crazy fucking video. It costed racks, bro. Like, I'm saying, 20. Like, Jeez. 20 bands at least. And that shit was crazy. Okay. So think about that. Like, I mean, it's still, obviously, there's so much, there's shit that could be better to it. So think about that. This is a guy from Montreal who wanted to do a crazy video, and that shit costed him this much. So you have a song, your budget is $600, $500.
Yep.
You have all these expectations. That shit will fuck you up.
Yep.
Either lower your budget or fucking make your expectation. I mean, either raise your budget or make your expectations lower.
Yeah.
Because if you have certain expectations, but then a certain budget that's really low, like I said, that song will be your fucking most hated song by you. Yeah. Because you will hate that because
you have
your
to understand the same work that it takes, or on a personal level, the same work that I put into the music, where I know I'm spending extended hours. Like I've spent the past year on this album. If I expect that in the video, and I'm not setting a budget that is realistic to that, I'm setting myself up for failure.
Or like you said, picking the right person to execute that. Like getting a tattoo, bro. If you want a fucking tattoo like some mad detailed, like a detailed character from a TV show or some shit. Mad shading, mad details. And then you got a guy who specializes in line work, like just fucking lines and shit, or a guy who specializes in fucking tribal tattoos. Bro, your tattoo will get fucked up, and then you'll be sad.
Yep.
Cause your expectations.
You set yourself up.
Yeah, you set yourself up.
Don't
for
play
failure,
yourself.
Bro. Don't play yourself, and that goes for anything in life.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
yo, man, like that's some real shit, and that's why I've been on the fence so hard about doing visuals, cause I know me personally, I am very artistic, in the visual realm mentally, and when I do a video, should I do a video, I want that shit to be perfectly executed from in here out here. I understand that there's some things that might not be possible. Like I have shots of myself in my head fucking flying and shit.
Bro, I already know you got huge expectations because your videos are crazy.
Bro.
Like, just for example, your songs kind of remind me of, like, let's say, like, Travis Scott.
Yeah.
His videos, they, like, Butterfly Effect, for example, they meet I feel like they met his expectations. It's a trippy-ass video. It's not so much a trippy song, but just as an artist, he has that, he wants to... His image is just that trippy, psychedelic shit.
Even him, like, on a like, artistic level, not with music, but, like, with arts, I know that from watching interviews and from watching videos and shit, like, he's super anal about getting the idea down pat.
Oh, yeah, I know you've seen that fucking movie, bro. Yelling at fucking the light people and shit.
Yo, yelling at the light people, when he's on the roller coaster.
Yeah.
Why is the camera not on him? Like...
And you gotta be though. You gotta be like that, bro. If you're not like that as an artist or something, whatever field you're in that has something to do with your vision coming to life, if you're not like that, again, you will set yourself up for failure, bro. You gotta fucking let these people, cause you have the vision.
Yep.
You're the artist. You're the creator. But you're hiring these people to make that vision to life because you don't. Let's say he's on stage. He can't be running a camera. He can't be running lights or, whatever you're doing. All that shit, bro.
Yeah.
You gotta hire people, so you gotta make sure that either you hire the best that will understand you, or if they're having trouble understanding you, make them fucking understand you, bro.
Like translate that information perfectly. No, don't exclude anything type shit. That was one of the that was one of the problems that I had when I first started, which is why like I sort of migrated into engineering myself, which not everybody will do. But it's like one of my biggest problems was like being able to communicate exactly what it is that I want. One of the problem was because, as I said before, I didn't have the terminology or the music knowledge or language. And the second problem was because when I was younger, I struggled a lot with like expressing what I want, how I want it, and being like if the engineer or if somebody did something that I didn't want, being able to say, no, that's not what I want. I struggled with that. So like now at this point, I've become a lot more confident in like really fixating on the shit that I want. But that wasn't how it was before. And for a lot of people, if you're watching this and you're starting in music, or if you're watching this, you've been doing music, but you feel like it's not really going the way that you want to, it's like you really have to be anal about the shit that you want. And it's tough. It's difficult to tell someone like, no, that's not what I fucking want. However, nobody's gonna make this music shit happen but you. If you're the artist and you want something to be the way that you want it to be, nobody's gonna understand that except for you. So you have to be vocal.
Yeah, no one's gonna be in your, whether it's visual or sonic. Yeah, no one is gonna hear what you're trying to get. Yeah, no one's gonna see what you see in your head. Yeah, you know what I mean. And that's why, as an engineer, and I bet like you recorded people, but like when people are paying me to do this job as an engineer, bro, I gotta make sure that I understand them so much. And that's why if it's their first time ever recording and they're talking to me about fucking underwater effects, fucking wow effects, fucking put the sauce on it, bro, put the sauce on it, or fucking
it's like, what does the sauce mean?
Yeah, bro, or make my voice fucking make my voice crispy, bro. Like I gotta know, like either I gotta ask them more questions, like like what do you mean by that? Like can you like tell me an example? Can you show me a reference track or something? Or
reference tracks are big.
Bro, if you don't understand...
Somebody will say, make me sound like T-Pain in 2003.
Bro, that's blessed.
And it's like, okay. And then you make them sound like T-Pain in 2003. And then they say, nah.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's like...
Well, what did you want?
What did you think when you said
especially
T-Pain,
when you nail that shit.
yeah,
Bro, like you
yeah.
nail it. Like, yo, make me sound like fucking Kanye and Stronger.
Yo,
Or make me sound like Daft Punk. Bet you spend an hour fucking making them sound exactly like Daft Punk. Turns out
that's not what they meant.
that's not what they wanted, bro. They should have just done fucking doubles of them with doing a weird voice instead of me putting a whole
Yo,
fucking
man.
vocoder and fixing that shit. You know what I
One
mean?
thing that I know that I bet you can relate to is like one of the hardest things in the engineering realm is when someone asks you to do something and you do that shit to the fullest degree and you're like 10,000% proud of yourself, and then they're like, nah.
Yeah.
And then it's like, what?
And they get offended.
I just spent 15
Yeah.
fucking years on this shit and you're not fucking with it? All right.
And they're getting offended because you didn't do it right when you're like trying your best to make them happy.
Yeah.
Or also people are telling me like yo, the autotune sounds
Crispy.
fire.
Yep.
The whole song. And there's this one note, like this one part of the song, this one line where the autotune does not sound good.
Yeah.
And what other reason would it be other than you gotta hit that note better?
Yeah.
Autotune doesn't do everything for you. You gotta sing a little bit better.
People still don't
And
know that.
They
I
get
don't know how
mad at
they
you,
don't
bro.
know
They're like, yo,
that.
fix the autotune, bro. Fix the autotune. I'm telling them, yo, it's your voice, bro. Please, like, just like try to do it again. They get offended. They think I'm telling them they're a bad singer, bro.
Yeah.
Like, bro, like
It's a difficult game, and I don't know. I mean, I understand how people still don't know these small details.
Yeah.
However, it's like, yo,
Yeah.
auto tune does not make you the singer. You have
No.
to understand the keys and understand the scales and understand the basics of how to sing in order for auto tune to correct your vocal
Know how to
to
use
that
it.
note. You know, that was another challenge for me starting, where it's like,
Yeah.
I thought, oh, you just pop auto tune on that shit and you're good. It's like, nah.
Cause that's what people make it seem like.
Yeah.
Like, I swear to you, a lot of people think the engineer's job, at least, well, me also when I was a kid, you'd hear the word autotune.
Yeah.
It's like when I was a kid too, I thought the word, like, I hear the word Photoshop.
Yeah.
I didn't think Photoshop was a real thing, bro. I thought it was a myth.
Yeah.
So when people would say, like, oh, you gotta play with the autotune, whatever, at first I thought it was a myth, but then for a while, I thought autotune, like, I thought whatever I didn't know what an engineer was, but I thought the reason vocals sounded so good and it's so clear and not how it sounds when you rap on a mic or when you talk, I thought that was just autotune. Like, all the EQs, the compressors, the reverbs,
Yeah.
I thought you put autotune.
And it makes it sound the way it sounds without anything else.
The reverb.
Yeah.
The reverb effect, that's autotune. The EQ, that's autotune.
The
delay,
compression,
that's autotune. The
yeah,
compression,
all
that's
that
autotune.
shit is auto tune.
So, bro,
Oh, he sounds
fucking-
underwater? That's auto tune.
Bro, when I started engineering, yo,
Yeah.
I was in for a ride, bro. I learned a lot of shit.
And even shit like Melodyne, bro, where after you record the vocal, you can go and you could change the notes if you want to, like, just shit like that. These are things that getting into music, that's why I have such a deep appreciation for it, because it's like, not only do I understand the aspect of recording and per se beat making, but I also understand the aspect of how difficult it is to go from the recording raw vocals stage to the final product stage and, like, bringing that shit to life. It's difficult, it's not easy, but it's a talent.
And you got to understand that you won't get credit for it from most of your audience. The people, like me as an engineer, if I listen to your tracks, I'll catch that shit. I'll be like, yo, that is crazy. How long did you spend on that? Teach me how to do that. But then there'll be people who are, they just listen to music, like we were before we used to make music.
Like,
they won't appreciate it. They'll think it took you 2 minutes, which is fine. I understand that. You have to understand that.
And even like something as an engineer that I had to understand is like not everybody's trying to see the process. Like back when I was younger, people would come over to the crib, watch me do shit, and then after I'd be explaining to them, so the reason why the vocal sounds like this is because you have to take the EQ, and then after you have to bring those frequencies up, and like I'm gonna dip out right here, and then after there's also a threshold on the EQ, and they'll be like, bro, just make the shit sound good.
They don't give a
fuck.
fuck.
That's all I really care about. And it's like, but then how are you gonna appreciate the? Okay, and then I had to be like, nah, not everybody's in for that ride.
And also, I get really quiet when I'm engineering, so it's like I gotta find that balance between making it sound good as fast as I can, so just locking in the session and doing that as fast as I can, doing it good. But I don't talk, so I have to find that balance where like I'm still talking to the artist in the room, or their friends or whatever, and I'm still maybe part of their conversation, or I'm still energetic and laughing with them and, you know, having a good time, but while making it sound good.
Yeah.
Because it gets hard sometimes when they're really talking loud. Like,
Mhm.
if they brought friends, you know, there's like 5 people in the studio.
Yeah.
They're really talking loud. I'm trying to make this shit sound good. So it's 2 problems. I can't hear the frequencies I'm trying to change or shit like that. So I don't know if it's going to sound as good as I want it to.
Mm-hmm.
So boom, the client might not fuck with that,
Yeah.
like how it sounds later because of that. But then I can't tell them, yo, shut the fuck up. I'm trying to mix right now. Because the client won't fuck with you no more.
And then after there's like choices that you have to make where it's like, all right, am I going to run the mix in my headphones? But then after you're compromising hearing certain frequencies
I hate
that
headphones.
you wouldn't. Yeah, like
never use
headphone
headphones.
mixing is like not really ideal. I do it sometimes just based off of I live in a crib that I have neighbors underneath and I can't always be running shit out the speakers, so I compromise that. However, I know the next morning when I wake up, listen to that shit in the speakers and hear how it sounds because there might be something I did that's gonna be fucked up. 9 times out of 10, my biggest problem is adding too much bass. I love bass, but it's like
last time I fully mixed a song on headphones was in August. I was in Quebec City at my grandparents' house, and I'm a workaholic, so I had to bring my computer, I had to bring my headphones in case someone sent me a mix. You know, a couple people did. So I was mixing while I was at their crib. I didn't have my monitors. I wasn't about to mix on a Bluetooth speaker. So I was using headphones, and don't get me wrong, great headphones. ATH M50, you know, the Audio Technica ones. I love them.
The best.
The best. Well, yeah, one of the best for sure. Industry standard for sure. I love them. Oh, fuck. But they are not, like, they can't compare to monitors. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nothing compares to monitors.
Because with monitors, you're just getting all of that. Like, you're getting a wider sound range, a wider frequency range.
People make the AD audio songs. You know, you listen to AD audio on your phone, you know, or 4D or whatever it is. It's low-key kind of, like, similar to that with monitors. Like, for me, I feel like I hear shit on the side, way to the side, a little bit in the back.
Monitors are crazy for listening to that 8D shit, bro.
Oh, I don't even know if I've ever tried that. Like, actually listen to AD.
Monitors are crazy for that. Because monitors will, like, the weird thing about monitors, especially, you know, Fab Filter Pro Q3?
Yeah, I have. I love that.
When you're listening to, you know how it has the mid and the side option?
Yeah.
When you turn on the side option and then you solo it with the headphones, it, like, you hear it, like, somewhere over here. It's this weird thing that I always listen to, but it's like...
You use age delay, right?
Oh, my God.
It's like when you're phasing the age delay.
Yeah.
It's like it's in the back of you now, the vocals, the delay. Yeah.
But yeah, man, all of this like engineering talk, it's just like there are things that like is very specific and it's difficult to get that done if the artist is not 100% telling you this is how I want it, and you have to bring that to life, but the artist has to be able to like tell you how they want it and be sure that that's what it is that they want, because it's like you can spend 500 hours doing one thing and the artist could be like, nah, that's not what I wanted, and it's like, well, that's what you told me to do. So
exactly. And on that, what I was saying about like clients getting mad at you and all that shit, and like all the shit I was saying, you know, about clients, I'm actually lucky. Just in case my clients are listening, because I fuck with them, I'm actually lucky. That's barely ever happened. It's happened a couple times, and that's why I know about it. But on a daily basis, when I'm having studio sessions, I just want to say shout out to my clients, because like I fuck with them. They trust me. I listen to them. They listen to me. They translate shit well with me. So I'm lucky in that sense. But I know for a fact that some producers or engineers have it way worse than I do, and it's an everyday thing where they're struggling with probably losing clients because they can't communicate.
Real life talks, bro. Real life talks.
But yo, fucking low key, might have to fucking
we're maxed.
end it. Yo, 2 hours.
I know that we're maxed, bro.
This is my longest podcast.
I gotta hit the set soon. So like, there's so much more that I'd love to talk about.
Too.
We can hit the part 2 in the next season.
We can hit a part 2 for sure. I don't know how I'm gonna work seasons yet, but I'm gonna figure that out. But I'm definitely gonna have seasons, and we could definitely hit a part 2. So stay tuned for that.
Post album.
You know, whenever you're releasing that. But I hope you guys fucked with fucking Trevor, yo, because this guy's interesting. We talked about a lot of good shit that not a lot of people are comfortable to talk about.
Topics.
You can find my Instagram as usual in the description.
Yep.
His Instagram in the description.
Yes, sir.
And I hope you guys fucked with this episode again.
Like tune in. You know, like there's bare episodes that are gonna be coming out. So tune in. You know, we're for the city right now.
Hopefully they made it to the end, bro. 2 hours is a long time.
That is a long time.
But I'm gonna have to fucking watch
If
all
you're
that
here,
too.
you're a trooper, and whatever is my latest post on IG, just comment underneath it like, it's a really specific emoji. It's the cup emoji, like the fucking
Coffee.
not the coffee one. The what is it called? You know when you go to McDonald's, you get a drink.
Yeah.
It's the drink with the straw.
Okay, with the red straw.
With the red straw, yeah. If you made it to the end, comment that under my latest post.
Or mine, whichever.
Yeah, you're a trooper. Big trooper.
Comment that, or even in the comments below too.
Yeah.
But go to his Instagram. Like I said, if you want to have some positivity in your life, watch his stories.
Tune in.
You know, I thought it was every morning, but I guess every week.
And on that note, you know, like
crazy episode.
Big crazy episode. Can I plug what's coming?
Of course.
Yeah.
That's what you're here for.
40% Alk coming soon. Until then, single myself coming soon. All these dates are TBD. And just stay up, man.
It's gonna be a big album. And listen to all of his shit that's already out. I promise you'll be happy. It's especially if you're into that psychedelic, trippy,
alternative,
hyped
trap, all that.
Yeah, just that type of vibe. If you fuck with that, go listen to his music. If you don't, go listen to his music still.
Yeah,
and,
still.
Yeah, so thank you for watching, everyone. It was good having you on.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
No problem, bro.
Yes,
I'm glad to have you. And hold up. I'll see you guys next episode. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you made it to the end. And I'll see you guys next week. Peace.